Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Synth Geekery, episode 219 according to my computer screen there. It never lies, but I might be lying to you right now. Anyway, have a nice Saturday. Hopefully it's not too cold, not too hot. Hopefully you're enjoying yourself. Sing out where you're from. Chatties are here in the chat room. Do say hello if you're from what part of the world, and is it nice? Are you having a great day? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you into synths? Are you into eurorack? What are you into? What do we do on the show? Well, good question. So there's a whole bunch of guys here. There's a black square down the bottom, but that's going to be reserved for people who are coming in on StreamYard, which I should probably show the link to there, and I should probably pin it because otherwise Google will tell me off. So StreamYard checklist, where are we? StreamYard link, post that in. Look, I'm organized this week, guys. And pin it. Bang. So link to StreamYard is pinned in the chat room. You can just click on it and you can join if you want. Obviously, I could be talking right now and no one knows that I'm talking because I might be muted. Am I not muted? I'm right, am I? Everyone hear me all right? I should have probably checked. StreamYard we've got running. No one's in there just yet. I think a few people are away this week, so you can see there's a couple of extra faces in here and faces missing in that. So don't worry, there is room. That's the cool thing. So there's room for you. You're there thinking, maybe I might jump on. Jump on. Because if you don't want to show your face, you can blank your camera and you can just have your audio. That's completely fine with us. So StreamYard link pinned in there. Please jump in. Give me a second to, once you do jump in, to add you in and everything, because I'm literally flying mono production here. There's no assistant or anything running the show. Right. Without further ado, let's say hello to everybody, and we'll start off with our illustrious person here, Darren. How's your week been, Darren?
Yeah, week's been fine. I think nothing major wrong. Last Sunday I put a track out, album track for next year, which was done in record-breaking time, really, because I realised I hadn't got a track ready to go or a video ready to go last Sunday. So at 12 o'clock thereabouts, I realised I had to come up with one, write one, make a video for it, do some artwork, and get it out before 4 o'clock. As it happens, It wasn't a bad track, and it's what's going on the album next year. So check that out. As well as watching the other stuff, I've been watching FD Audio. Have you seen them? They're like little mini desktop patch bays. I don't know whether he makes them, whether you can get them, but they're cool, especially after seeing what Andy with all your modular stuff out. These desktop patch bays are cool. They do a nano one, and he does this bigger one, which I'm quite interested in because I thought it'd be quite good for live. But yeah, I've been watching that, which is, I can't post the link off my iPad for some reason. But yeah, they're quite cool. I thought they'd be quite handy actually, because I've not seen many desktop sort of patch bays. They usually either rack mounted, or I think the is it Burn Brain or something like that they do them. But these are quite nice. I quite like them.
So desktop.
I think it's FD Audio.
Desktop patch base.
FD Audio. Yeah, FD Audio.
I saw the DF audio
on YouTube.
I saw the DF audio ones.
Yeah.
The nano.
It could be DF Audio. Is it on? Yeah, nano patch DF Audio. That's it. Not FD.
Yeah. I can. We can show that if you like. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. I think they're really cool.
We can show that during the news if you want. I've got room for that.
Yeah, if you've got room for that, fine. Because I think it's. I think with them being quite small, compact. Put it in the news anyway, because I think it's quite good.
In.
Definitely worth for me considering stuff for that. Because I mean, you can see at the back here. I don't know if you can see. It's one the rack sort of patch bay. But these little desk ones, especially if you've got modular or running synths for mixers into modular and things like that. Yeah. But other than that, doing the track for last week quickly. Yeah. Oh, I'm still doing my live rig. It's coming together now. I haven't got long, but it's coming together. So if it sounds as good as it sounds on my headphones, because I'm having to mix and master in the headphones, and it sounds as good outside the headphones, brilliant. If it doesn't, not so good. It'll either be a muddy mess or it'll sound okay. I never say music sounds great. I let other people say it if it does. I'm too critical.
All right, that sounds good. Now, Darren, while I've got you there, I don't know if this link is going to work or not. If I press this, does this work? It does, yes. So Darren, while I've got you there, I was venturing around the Perth Royal Show today, which is like an agricultural / fair, fun rides, stuff like that. And I came across this particular vendor, and I thought, geez, just one letter out.
Oh God, yes.
And we would have been
going
nuts.
I don't think it's in. There isn't looking of purple there.
Yeah, it's not purple enough either. Yeah, I know they could have put a little splash of paint.
But I like what is it? The whiz at the back, at the side there. What's that? Is that purple whiz?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Yeah, it looked a bit dodgy down the side. I didn't want to go down that.
Yeah, it's
probably got mugged.
Well, it's probably Parma violets and stuff. They'll be handing them out. Get high on Parma violets.
There were some classy people at that exhibit there, so I stayed quite far back.
You would have had a shock if he popped up. Though.
If he popped out, say, "Hey, Ranzee," I would have been like, "What the." Yes. Anyway, we shall progress on.
What the purple?
Yeah, what the purple. Andy, how are you, mate? How's your week been?
Hey, everybody. Doing all right. Just half awake as usual, but doing well. Darren was talking earlier. I had just shown this before we started the show. I'll give you guys a quick tour. And I know Robbie, this is partly for Robbie. I know he loves this stuff. So working on an EMOM set with all kinds of toys.
Rockin'.
Nice.
So, yeah. So had to make a spot for the laptop, so I moved everything aside. But having fun. Having fun with still testing out Chris's really cool module for the
awesome
182 sequencer. There's some ratchety goodness in there. So yeah, should be fun.
Cool.
I'm probably going to scale down to 2 cases because I don't want to bring 4 things to an EMOM. That's just kind of silly. But
well, yeah, you got to be.
It's not unheard of, but
you got to carry it. You don't really want to take trolleys and stuff like that, do you? So.
Well, that's the thing is, as you heard my stories from last time, I don't want to get too detailed, but I pretty much have to hand carry anything in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I'm not running a car through those streets.
Yeah.
And I have to dodge a lot of certain things. So I basically everything has to go on my shoulder, on my back, or my hands.
Yeah.
I cannot, wheel anything or, I also don't want to be too wide. I got to go through narrow passageways sometimes.
Yeah.
So if I'm carrying a bunch of stuff to the side,
by the end of it, might not be so clever.
Well, yeah, again, I don't want to be too graphic, but it's like a hellscape. Driving through a hellscape, I'll put it that way. So,
Pooscape.
Unless I want to hose a bunch of stuff off like my days at the zoo, I don't really want to go through the city like that.
They just need to develop the hoverboard. I think that the hoverboard needs to be developed a bit better. Then we can all just hover above the ground a bit. Well,
then you could have hover platforms for your synths, and you don't need to bring stands.
Ooh, now you're talking.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, looking forward to seeing both of you. I'm looking forward to seeing both of your setups even more. So don't be shy. Like show a bit more of it, guys. I know Darren, you're being a bit secretive until the actual event. That's fine. But once the event's happening,
No. I might. Look, I've told you what's going on. I mean, that's one of the things. And that's another one. A little. So
you don't have long enough.
So there's 2 things. No,
you need to hold them higher.
Also, part of traveling light. This will be my keyboard. So.
Well, as I've said. Someone asked me. I said, "Oh, that's all right." Yeah. Yeah. Small and light. It's the actual. The gear's light. It's the thing that I put it on that's the weight.
Well, let's say good day to Chris before we keep talking about this. Hey, Chris.
Hey,
How are ya?
how's it going, everyone?
Good.
Yeah, my week's been another knee deep in modular stuff, really. Been working on the GP82 module, doing some firmware changes, getting some stuff happening with clock dividers and resetting after some good feedback from Rant last week. LED brightness is now adjustable. And I've been writing the manual and doing a few videos, how-to videos, instructional videos for GP82. Also, obviously, we've been looking at the module that died in Andrew's rig. We think we have pretty firm evidence of what components have been sacrificed to the electron gods, but we are as yet unclear on exactly what the cause is. So I'll be sending him a brand new module, and he'll be sending it back here for me to do some analysis on. And needless to say, I've also decided I'm going to build all of the modules that I have parts for here now, because I don't have any time to waste, really. And in the light of what's occurred, I'm going to be doing a bit of extra testing and sort of torture testing. Not exactly torture testing. I don't really want them to fail. I just want to see if things are getting hot somewhere where they shouldn't, that kind of basic stuff. Try a few combinations that I didn't have a chance to try out before I send them to the beta team. All that good stuff. But we're moving on. It's there's new versions of boards which will be eventually going to fabrication. I just need to find time to actually finish working on them. But I've been working pretty much with the beta testing phase at this stage. Apart from that, I ordered the G-Storm Electro SEM filter that we showed on last week's show. That's going to take a few weeks to come. But that seems like a tasty filter to play with.
That is going to be awesome.
Don't worry. I'll be concentrating on, as well as having fun, I'll be concentrating on making sure that I can demo something, perhaps on the show. That'd be good. If we have time. And apart from that, I haven't done any music much this week, and I haven't done a hell of a lot of synthing other than testing modular stuff and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to getting back to that soon. But otherwise, that's my week so far.
Awesome. Cool. And also, you're probably enjoying the vMix desktop versus the StreamYard, because it's probably a bit more interactive for you. You're not getting full screen cut off and things like that.
Yeah, it's a bit cleaner, very much cleaner. I can see things. I don't need to put on an extra pair of glasses.
Well, I mean, yeah, we can all, if you want to put on extra pair of glasses, you can just do that. It just kind of looks a bit weird, that's all. Right. We don't have anyone else to say hello to, so that's cool. No one's jumped into StreamYard, even though the link's there. Oh, well, no one wants to play. That's fine. It's there. Don't forget it. It's up the top. Right. What I thought we'd do too is just talk about what we're going to get through today in today's show. We're going to obviously do all of our regular segments. So for those who are new, and I can't really see any new people here, and I'm going to go through who's in the chat in a sec. If I have anyone new, please sing out in chat that you're new and you'd like to know what we get up to in the show. It's there's a whole bunch of regular segments that we talk about. There's news, there's memes, there's some price watching going on. But if you ever wonder, how do I find out more information about Synth Geekery, what we do, and you're not getting it probably just by watching one episode? I mean, one of the ways you could do it is by going and watching 218 other episodes. That might take a bit of time, probably not the best idea. Another way to go about it would probably be the easier way, and that would just be jump on over to ranzee.com, click on the home button, and then you can just literally browse around the site and you can go through previous episodes. There is a page that talks about the Synth Geekery Show here and a bit of an overview about what it does. Tells you when the next show's on, all that sort of stuff, regular guests, links to people, links to articles. So even in previous shows, we've got the complete rundown of the previous show, links to the video of it, all the funny side memes, all the modules that we talk about, and synths and things like that are in the show. So that's all there. So this is just to show the noobs. I know you guys who have been here forever already know this stuff, but do check out ranzee.com during the week. And this episode will pop up on there probably in the next day or two. I used to say in about 8 hours, but I'm starting to get busy on Sundays now with sports and stuff, so with the kids. So it could be, it might not be. It's a volunteer thing that I'm doing here, so don't get nasty with me if it's not there yet. Probably don't even really need to do it, to be honest. But anyway, so another thing that I actually, while we've got this site up, I do want to mention, and that is the Pro. How do I go back? Go back. Please go back. One more. There it is. Right, the Pro 800, which is a pretty busy page. We've got JX3D, Henrik, and also Chris helping us out with this page. It's a pretty busy page. We are all owners of the Pro 800 synthesizer, and you can see quite a lot of information is on that page. If you do venture to this page, it's just it's got a table of contents, so you can go straight to these things. Now, I have added a new section down the bottom here, which are editors, and there's a bit of GitHub development happening on this synth as well. And over on GitHub, there's some cool things happening over there where people are reverse engineering the SysX and they've actually documented everything. So that is actually a pretty cool thing. But also there's the Pro 800 editor, which I'm going to probably, if we get time, I might have a little bit of a look at that. I don't know if we will have time, but it's up anyway, and it's all plugged in and plumbed in, so we can probably have a quick look at that. It's a web-based MIDI editor thing for the Pro 800, and it's pretty cool, and it's free. So for those people who are doing that, I'll give some shout outs to the developers and that to it as well. Right, let's say hello to the chatties. Chatties are these awesome people who are sitting next to you. You just don't know it. Be careful if you feel a cold sort of breeze across the back of your shoulder. It may just be one of these chatties has just jumped up and gone and grabbed a cup of tea or something. You just don't know. It might be that weird sort of ghost feeling that you get. Yep, it's all the chatties that are in the show. Anyway, big hello to the breathalyzer, who's Sean Johnson Music. I think he was an hour early. Yes, oops for you, mate. But as a result of yes, oops, you will be wearing the Yellow Guernsey Tour de France style all week long. So that's pretty cool. And Kosh Dukai is there. I think he was also early. Homegrown. You guys are all chatting to each other an hour early, of course. But then the show started, and then we have people like Prometheus UK jumped in. We've got Wagoo, Synchrotron, which is Andy Merbert, is there. Ben Breslin also there. Culture of Ghosts. Big hello to all of you guys. And then scrolling down, Matt Brown, Lady Aptitude, getting up early over on the US side of things. Nice to have you as well. And keep going. I think we've got I Sing the Body Electric. I always get that wrong. I do apologize for botching up some of your YouTube handles, guys. JP Page 2, of course, is awesome to have you, mate. Legacy Hand is there. I don't want to ask about that. Wayne Murray's there. Robbie's there. Failed Muso. Teo Sophie Music is there. Cresshead's there. Nice to have all of you. And we'll keep going. And I saw David, one of our channel members. Of course, channel members are awesome. You guys can see them in the chat with the green coloured nick and the little sort of star in a circle next to the name. And I think that star changes colour the longer they've been channel members too. It's a pretty cool feature, actually. So if you do want to be a channel member, it does help the show out. Pays the internet connection, by the way, which is fibre, and it's not cheap. So that does help. And I need fibre to get all these video calls in. Paul Holmes is there. Macrodosed, awesome to have you there, Stephen. That's nice to see you as well. And I think there's a whole bunch of things that scrolled off the screen, but I've probably missed a few. But anyway, I think I saw Ian as well. Nice to have Ian popping in. I know he's busy at the moment. So there we have it. We've got through most of you guys. So awesome to have you. And don't forget, if you are lurking about, don't worry worry. Just jump into chat. Say hello. We are pretty easygoing people. Speaking of easygoing things, we should probably check out this segment. Everybody's favorite. Yes, this one was sent in by Andy, who's actually sitting here listening in. And I'm talking about Synth Addict Andy, by the way. There's so many Andys on this show. It's not funny.
I know we're like a virus.
We should call it the Andy Show. They all come from the Android operating system. Anyway, we should make a song together sometime. Yeah, man, totally should. Two guys who are never going to make a song together. It's so like that happens probably to everyone, I reckon. Happens to everyone. Not me though. Anyway, I don't even have friends. But anyway, let's talk about me and some of these people in this yearbook. This is the Synth yearbook. And there's some interesting haircuts there. I thought this was pretty good. I can't remember who sent that one in. I think that was...
I sent that one too.
You sent that one as well? Okay, cool.
I was scavenging. I found some goodies.
Yeah. You guys were all talking about the eurorack haircut, and we'll get to that in a sec. But I kind of thought the Yamaha... I thought the Yamaha one was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Is that the mushroom?
I should
or maybe even like a jellyfish style haircut. That one. Yeah, go, Chris. What do you say?
I better just clear one thing up. That guy in the middle is not me, by the way.
No, we knew that. He's a lot more handsome than you are, Chris.
I did go to school that everyone looked like this. I've seen actual representation of these people in real life. So
yeah. Oh, they're walking around Australia right now. Let me tell you, we're a bit behind the times here. I don't know if this works, but we'll try. Oh, okay. It didn't work. It skipped it. All right. Yes, this one is for Robbie. You might like this one.
Oh no.
Yeah. I'm going to have to try and get the thing that I wanted to show you up some other way, but I'll keep going with the memes. Yeah, so Robbie, you might like that one. That one was quite... there was a lot of happy people with that one. Put it that way. Okay. The next one, I think is the last one. Yes, and this one was also for Robbie. I think he's already seen it. This is a touchscreen car audio system in like a...
That's great.
What is it?
Wow.
I think it's an American car. I forget what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chevrolet or something?
I can probably tell you if I scroll really quick. It is a Buick display.
Ooh. So it has GM keys. I recognize those keys. So.
On the Riviera. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go. Now
heading to Vegas.
Now, let's just go back to our haircuts for a second. I'm just going to refresh your memory. Let's go back to haircuts, which was about there. Good clicking. Good clicking. I just want to remind you that in Australia, you guys may not recognize the haircut in the middle, the eurorack haircut, but in Australia, we definitely do. And here it is.
Da, 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 da.
We call it the mullet. There we go.
The mullet.
I don't know why it didn't work in the GIFs didn't work. It's a bit annoying. Yes.
Well, it did work. It animated.
Let us know in chat if you have a mullet and you are sporting one right now, because there's nothing wrong with that. They kind of had a resurgence, haven't they? Some people are sporting mullets right now.
Mel Gibson made him popular for a while with Lethal Weapon. So
he did. Yeah. Well, don't forget he's Australian, and I think the mullet was invented.
Well, he's an import, right? He wasn't born in Australia though.
Yeah. He's a bitzer. He's a bitzer. Right. Favorite meme of the week, people? Has to be the haircuts, surely. Or maybe...
Probably.
Maybe you guys are a bit butthurt about the DX7 joke. I'm not sure.
That's kind of eurorack as well.
It is a bit eurorack, isn't it?
Some people, yeah.
Let us know in the chat what your favorite
We all have
meme
different
is.
levels.
Haircuts, the Euro mullet, yeah. Class photos, they're all saying the mullet one. That's pretty good. Well done, Andy, for finding that one.
Yeah.
I think you've got a winner there.
Yeah, good one, mate.
If you're ever wondering who did the DX7 meme, yes, it was me. And I'm allowed to do it because I own a DX7.
Indeed, yes.
The DX7 also reminds me of the finance people meme, like the anal retentive, like, oh wait, this isn't my Wednesday lunch bag.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Who's moved my lunch from the left side of the fridge to the right side of the fridge? Now I'm going to have a bad day.
That's my entire wardrobe.
And they go and put a complaint in, written one in triplicate to the boss. Yeah. Oh, don't you love those days? Right, why don't we hit this button? We're going to hit the news. I have been really, really busy this week. So putting this news together was kind of like a last minute thing today. And I'm going to be very, very honest with you guys. As we go through these news items, I'm going to be going, oh, wow, that's pretty cool, at the same time as you. Or maybe I won't be saying that. I might be just very tight-lipped indeed. First off the ranks is this little baby from Darren's favourite company called Bastel Instruments. This is the ARP, the Castle ARP. And yes, you can play it on a park bench, Darren. It is a tiny little
compatible.
thing. It is a tiny little thing.
Exactly.
But instead of me crapping on about it, why don't we watch 2 minutes of this guy crapping on about it? Well, it is tiny, isn't it?
Reverb sold separately.
It's PVC, that's what counts.
If your ears is hurting as hard as your eyes right now. That goes on for about another minute or so, but yeah, pretty cool little thing. About €100, just a tad over €100 is what I could work out the price was. A few people reporting it to be a different price, but I don't think it's like €180 or anything like that. I think it's about 100.
They're usually pretty cheap, that line.
They are, yeah. It's kind of Volca modular-esque, isn't it? This thing with the little, I don't know what you call
DuPont
those things.
pins.
Yeah, DuPont pins, that's the name. So, and a little bit of pocket operator as well. I kind of felt like there was kind of a bit of both in that. Anyway, had that sort of hand in your hand because the Volca's a bit bigger than that. So yeah, it's a semi-modular little ARP thing. Quantized sine wave oscillator with digital wave shaper. It does have let's go back to the graphic. It does have a note knob, and you can browse manually through 8 octaves, and you can also patch the note and chord inputs for generating chords for up to 3 notes. There's a timbre control that allows you to blend between noble sine waves and 8-bit chip tune timbres. There is a quantized oscillator. You're always on the safe side with tuning in that sense there. It does have a decay envelope with a clever addition that enables you to vary skipping pitches and stuff before triggering. Kind of like a flexible LFO taken from one of their other products called the Castle Drum with dedicated patch points. And there's also a boot mode where you can access the root note, fine pitch tuning and things like that. It's powered by 3 AA batteries or via a micro USB. Yep. Don't throw your synth at the screen. I don't think that's the best decision. Why not USB-C? I think maybe there's still licensing issues on that. Anyway.
They'd have to redesign it to make it different, though, because the whole set is micro. So
yeah. I think it might be a cool little thing. Darren?
Yeah, I think I quite like that one out of all of the small ones. I think, yeah. It's something you can take away with you. It's quite easy, and the park bench won't be full up. That and a few others. As you take it out of a huge case.
Yeah, interesting sort of take on the ARP/glitchy side of it, right? With the ARP features and the.
I'll be backing it in. Yeah. I mean, I'm not always a fan of like really sort of chiptuney type stuff, but I don't mind that. And I think. I think once you start putting it through some effects.
Let's head on over to the...
Like a huge reverb.
Yeah, you can keep talking about it while I'm heading over there, Darren.
Yeah.
All right, we're over there. What?
We're heading over to Castle ARP, where they've lowered the drawbridge and you've walked across the vault.
Is it castle or castle?
Yeah. If you're from certain parts of the world, it's castle. Yeah. Or castle.
Or cancel.
Yeah. Darren, how do you say it? You say castle.
Castle.
Oh, you say castle. Okay. Fair enough.
Silly now. It's a bit deeper than I thought it'd be.
We've got lots of them anyway, so we'll just go.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. little bit chunky on the chunky side.
He flies drones around.
I think
him.
her hand was hiding it a fair bit in there. But yeah, there you go. Anyone else want to make a comment on the Castle?
Yeah, I'm actually a fan of the series. I didn't know this one came out, but I have the Castle 2 and the Castle Drum, and they are very useful. I mean, this is easier to carry around, but they are proper wired, little thingies to experiment with, like the vocal modular, like you said. I actually prefer the thing that he did with Xils-labs, the micro granny. I think it was a collaboration, and also the it's a granular synth thing, and also the Bit Ranger, which is amazing. If you haven't seen the Bit Ranger, it's a total modular system in the palm of your hand, about size of like 3 castles. Has ports on the side, each side, and on the top. Yeah, it's discontinued, but it's really powerful, really crazy. Has like math functions built into it, so it's like maths mixed with effects and some modular type of oscillator filtery stuff on there. Really, really powerful. But yeah, so I like it a lot. I didn't know about the ARP one. I'll look at it more. I mean, the demo unfortunately made it very squelchy, chiptune-y, lo-fi sounding, and I'm sure it could be cleaner than that. But yeah, they just pop in the batteries at the bottom. There's no cover on the bottom. It's just there's enough friction to keep the batteries in. Just pop them in and just go to town. Play it.
And the XOR wave shaper. Sometimes there's other ways, so that's limited a little bit in that sense. But yeah, still fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Making little cases for them. Like for the
and what's the price, Rance?
Like I said, I clipped on the
usually around $100.
Yeah, I think
100 euros.
I think it was 107. Where is it?
107. Yeah.
If we click on the buy here,
it's pretty cute, isn't it?
It says 107 there.
Yeah.
So
see,
right there, 107 euros. If you don't believe
okay. I was not having a go.
There we go.
Because he's not in 640 res.
Like Darren's sending photos. If you don't know what that means, you need to watch more episodes.
Fuzzy shots, yeah.
Yeah. See, Darren's into AI now. He likes fuzzy logic. Right.
Yeah.
We should hit this button and go to the next.
Crickets.
Yeah, crickets, definitely. Now, this company called Nekia.
Complex.
They make 3 or 4 new modules. I think it might be 4, actually. And we'll start with this one. This is called the Root Locus. And I do have a little video. This is a multi-mode filter, and I'll tell you a bit about it on the other side when we finish watching it. I'm not going to watch 10 minutes, don't worry. There's a whole bunch more stuff that we probably should talk about just before it goes into long-winded video, 10 minutes. So it's actually a really cool video, by the way. It's like that. He doesn't talk. He's got some comments down the bottom, and he shows the features. But I kind of thought what I thought we'd do is have a little look at what it is. It's over to here. it's a analog 12 dB per octave multi-mode filter based on the CGS512 VCFQ filter. Now, I looked that up, the VCFQ.
CGS.
Isn't
that
the Surge design?
Yeah.
If you're wondering.
That's right.
Mm.
Early DIY people.
Early DIY people.
Yeah.
So it adds dual input crossfading, which I like. This is the cool thing. So that means that you've got your two inputs coming in, and you can actually have like a mixing gain control between the two inputs with a variable mode output with the CV control for it. So you can sweep between filter modes. So that's probably one of its powers.
USP.
Yep.
Unique selling point. Yeah.
There's also another cool thing in here, which is called the ping input, and that allows you for a really, really cool amount of percussive sounds. Now that, I believe, is when you're sort of running it in like the,
high resonance. Or...
the high resonance mode. There is a sub-range switch, which makes it a versatile CV filter as well. And you're able to filter control voltages as well as transforming it into an interesting quadrature LFO whilst in self-oscillation. So there's a whole bunch of cool things this can do that's just not a filter on its own. Interesting. I think this kind of does open up some of the parts of filters that I haven't seen a lot of. And notice the little sub and ring button in the middle there too. Yeah. Thoughts? Comments? Suggestions? Root locus. We've got a couple more of these neckier circuits modules to get through, but we'll keep going. Talk about this one.
Surge system was cool. It was founded at Cal Arts down in Southern California.
Yep. Oh, price?
Bunch of students.
200. This one's the most expensive out of the lot, not by much though.
Okay.
$291 US.
US. Ooh, yeah.
So I think the one that you bought, Chris, is probably better than this. Yeah.
It's a bit, well, the one different. I've ordered is a bit more gnarly, would we say? It's a bit more extreme, and it can go between those two scales of extreme and smooth. So this one seems a little bit, perhaps a narrower range of sonic territory, but more interesting in terms of what you can explore in it. Which is it kind of reminds me of it's kind of what the sort of the DIY synth scene explores. So they're doing things like, what happens if I randomly put a voltage into the middle of circuit? What's going to happen? I mean, there are not many people in the world except synth DIYs who would be brave enough just to do something like that. And that's where I think a lot of these odd controls and things come from. So it's good to see them on modules that are available to the public rather than just in people's workshops and stuff. So I applaud him for bringing that kind of stuff. I think it's good.
Yep. Awesome. Shall we go? There's a couple more. Maybe we can talk about the other three modules are kind of more utility modules. So it may be an idea to group them, and then we can talk about them individually.
Put them together, I reckon. It's probably not a bad
All right.
idea.
The next one is this one, which is the Opal. I love the little sort of characteristics on it. It's pretty
Glyphs.
cool. Now this so this looks. Most of you guys should be able to work out what this is. And if you can't, I'll tell you. It's a triple switched attenuverter and a mixer.
Hey.
But one of the cool things that I like about it is that it has kind of like this routing. You've got the symbols down the bottom with routing. And so you notice that there's little momentary switches above each of the potentiometers. So you can route each input to the outputs that are labeled with the same symbol. And then you've also got a middle position on those little switches, which is a mute. So this is a kind of neat little product. So you've basically got a little it's not a VCA or anything, but it's a 3-route mixer. So it does mix CV and audio, by the way. And it does handle offset voltages of plus or minus 10 max. And it does also feature a 2x voltage multiplier switch on it as well. Did you notice that?
Oh, cool. Yep, cool.
Yeah. Other than that, it's interesting combinations of Eurorack and CV and patching and, to two different destinations, I guess, or merging, if you want to look at it the other way. Merging. There is a tiny little video. I don't really know how exciting an attenuator video can be, but let's have a look. Sorry, that's going to get a little bit nerdy. That'll just go through his oscilloscope and show you all
each individual.
Yeah. But I kind of think the first little tiny intro does show a bit of coolness about it. So attenuators, if you're wondering, if you haven't ever known what they are, it means that you can positive and negative resist. Because a potentiometer is a resistor, right? It's a variable resistor. You can positively and negatively resist a control voltage or an audio signal. And that's a pretty cool thing because in a lot of situations, you usually only have a positive attenuator, right? Which is why these are called attenuators. Anyway, it's price-wise, that one's the cheapest out of the lot. That's $139 US. Any comments? We'll just keep going, right? We'll keep going. The next one.
It's a combination of attenuator and inverter, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So
the plus and negative. Now, the next one is the Obsidian. The Obsidian. Obsidian is a dual analog voltage-controlled LFO with a stack of I/O on that little sucker. But let's have a look at the little vid. Not that video. Where's my video gone of the Obsidian? There it is. LFOs, how exciting can you be with LFOs? We all love our LFOs. Look, mummy, no hands. So you probably just worked out that that's an LFO with the ability to wave shape, which is what the symmetry feature is on that. So that's probably the cool part about it. You noticed that it was triangle and square wave outputs through it. Let's go to the graphic again. There's also both LFOs are cross-modulated if nothing is patched. So LFO 1 modulates LFO 2 and vice versa. And it also features logic outputs, sum, difference, minimum, maximum. They can be routed into the waveforms. Once activated, you can achieve quite complex waveforms with it. So it's pretty sophisticated in that sense. Like it's a real nerding out type LFO. Like you're self-patching, you're cross-modding, you're wave shaping. So there's that. And that price of that one, what did I say? What one was? $233. So that's the second most expensive. Would it be nice if that was an oscillator as well? But that's my little quick comment there. And the last one is the Susumi, which is a low pass gate. And I do want to talk about this because I love low pass gates, right? So let's have a look at the little video. Let's go to the graphic first so you can actually see it. So there's a low pass gate. What type of low pass gate and everything will come to on the other side of this.
Yeah.
I could talk over this, I guess. This is a dual low-pass gate, and it's based on the Buchla 292. There's two identical mild non-resonant channels that utilize Vectorals in order to provide the simultaneous control over the amplitude and frequency of each input signal. So the Vectorals are handmade, and they are carefully matched in order to achieve a similar response to the Buchla. I would actually be quite interested to know whether they would be allowed to ship these in the EU/UK, because I don't think there's a law that says they can't. Anyway, maybe they found a new design that allows or not. Low pass gates are fun. Like, yeah, if you want to nerd out on this sort of stuff, you can. That's the cheapest module out of the lot. That one is $100 and actually no, it's not. It's the second cheapest. $151 US dollars for that sucker. So we've got the Root Locus, the Opal, the Obsidian, and the Susumi from Nekia circuits. Comments, guys? Comments in chat?
It's not the Susumi then.
Well, the guy's clearly an Apple fan because
Phil
it came
Collins
from that
likes
Apple lawsuit sound, the xylophone sound called Susumi, about a lawsuit they had. So
Sosumi.
Yeah, it's like sue me, like go ahead and sue me kind of thing.
Yeah, so sue me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Handmade Vectorals is what they say on their website. It doesn't actually say anything more. If you want to know a little bit more information, I guess we could probably bring some of these up. So this is the Susumi web. So it's 4 HP, 25 millimeters, skiff friendly. It does have bridge rectifiers in it, so you can reverse the polarity on your power input without blowing your module up. Yeah, this one's your percussive, plunky sort of poppy sounds. So that's that one. Obsidian, there was some info about that. 8 HP, this is your LFO. Was there anything else in there that I forgot? Still pretty low, 25 millimeters, so that's pretty low.
Can you think of other LFOs that do the wave folding thing? That is kind of unique.
There's an oscillator that does LFOs, that does wave folding. So there's that, but
You could stick a LFO through a real wave folder, of course.
Sure.
But
I mean, all built in like that is kind of interesting.
There's one of the LFOs I built a kit of has that asymmetry knob on it as well. So
I'm surprised Batumi doesn't do that.
So
yeah,
symmetry is quite a common, not as common, but it is not unheard of in LFO.
Batumi's digital, isn't it? Too. I think Batumi's digital. The Obsidian is dual analog as well. So I mean,
right.
I mean, if you ever want to talk about analog and digital, go have a conversation with Oz from Expert Sleepers. You know, he makes a really, really good argument about how really stupid people are getting with this analog, love affair.
Right.
There's definitely a place for certain analog circuits, but there's also
like a low pass gate.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like it's not all good and bad. People like extremes, It's like fashion. People want to say, I can only wear this type of shoe for this many weeks.
We are going to be talking about Expert Sleepers a little bit later in the show, so a little bit of a tease there for you guys. Some of you guys know what that's about too already, by the way. Okay, so out of all of those, does any of them sing insta-buy for you guys, or more info? Do you guys want to go and find out more?
Well, I've already got a dual low pass gate, so there's not a huge advantage there for me. And the one I've got's actually got an adjustable resonance. Although you can't adjust it on the front panel, you have to give it a control voltage, which is a bit of a pain. And that's just a kit. So yeah,
you could use an attenuator.
Yeah, I could definitely use that. Yeah, the attenuator is quite interesting and not too expensive. So it's definitely on the list of many attenuator modules that are on the utility list.
I pretty much have all that stuff except for a surge filter. I don't have a surge-like filter.
Yeah, I mean, that surge filter, you can make yourself. There's so many diagrams out there. Yeah.
I will say one thing about the matched Vactrals. I think I vote for that being a good thing because the low pass gate I got, the two Vactrals are very not matched.
Oh, right.
Which is
that's a
you could use it to your advantage. I mean, because what it meant is that I got two different flavors out of it. But then when you say, I want to do something instead, oh, no, I can't because they don't match. And it's going to, that's a bit weird. And also you get familiar with the position on the slider where something happens. You need to swap it to the other one and then it's not the same position.
Do you think
it can be a bit of a pain?
Yeah, but do you think
it's not matched?
Do you think matched is the same as identical? Because they use the term identical.
I would hope they'd be listening to them and making sure they respond similarly and similar.
Well, if it does follow the
Buchler, they were claiming it was matched.
Yeah, if they do follow the Buchler sort of design, the 292 design, it should be matched.
Because the Vactrals in the module I've got are sealed. They're manufactured and sealed Vactrals. They're not homemade ones, so you can't really get much more quality control than that, can you? It's just they vary. They just vary because of the chemistry involved.
Yeah.
So you have to match them like transistors sometimes get matched.
These are on Modular Grid if you want to check out some more info. And sometimes Modular Grid may link you to forum posts and stuff that they chat about these as well. So they will also be on the link on the blog article in the next day or so as well. So you can.
That guy, Maikshifter, makes a nice dual low pass gate. That's very slim and cheap. So.
Yeah. But like I said, there are some low pass gates that don't use Vactrals, right? So do they achieve the same thing? And that's the question you got to ask. One day, I'll actually, when I've got some spare cash, I want to actually get both and put them side by side and show you guys what massive difference it makes when you're doing percussive sounds. We could even use that 2500 resonator thing. Yeah, that might make some interesting stuff out of that with Vactrals.
You don't get the same kind of boingy response, right? And the lag and stuff. Yeah,
but with the non-Vactral ones, you can get it to be quicker. You can get them to be more snappy because you're not waiting on that light.
Yeah, it's kind of like the difference between optical compressors and FET compressors.
Yeah. So sometimes there's pros and sometimes there's cons with both, right? Yeah. Chatties, are they saying similar stuff or are they just dreaming? I want to build a bigger skiff.
Somebody wake them up.
No, they're talking about it.
Sure, they weren't. Yes, they were. They were listening intently to us.
So, is there no way you can smuggle these things in? Are they literally are they not getting past customs?
So these have got the forbidden chemicals and elements in them.
So you can't get them past custom. Wow, that sucks. Not even if you went overseas and stuck it in your luggage.
I guess that's why people are making their own Vactrals now.
What if you're like a famous musician your own beer, and you're touring with your gear and you've got Vactral low pass gates in your skiff and they're saying, nope, can't bring that back into you. And you're like, but it was here before you made this rule.
So I understand because this cadmium sulfide, the cadmium. What about NiCad batteries? You can't obviously use those either, right? Those are all banned as well.
Well, I don't know. I don't live in the EU, so the only person.
No, I know. Just wondered how far that goes.
Is this fella here?
There's cadmium, lots of stuff.
Yeah, so. I couldn't tell whether the batteries are banned or they won't be surprised.
And light sensors that make your street lights go on, those are cadmium sulfide. So what the hell are they doing for those?
Yeah. All right, now
they're trying to go all lead.
I want to move on because we're going to have some more meatier topics in the news than these, and we're going to start with this one. Modal. Yeah. Okay. Oh,
Champagne
Dave.
cork.
Dave's joined us. Yay.
Somebody popped a champagne cork. That's a bit
It's
touchless.
Don't worry. Dave's here. And we'll add Dave into the little bottom left-hand corner of our 6-panel square. Dave's already in StreamYard now, so hopefully he can hear us. In fact,
Hi, David.
if I go to there's David, everyone. Hey!
Hi, Dave.
Hey, David.
Hey there.
Just getting his audio sorted.
And Cleo.
Let me just...
Cleo. Hello.
I'm just going to add him in down the bottom here, I think. Let me just do this, right? Because... which one's the bottom? Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. Dave, your audio could come up a smidge, I think.
Yeah,
I feel.
maybe if I just talk closer. Let's see. I'll try to smidge. Okay.
Yeah, smidge is good, like a technical term, you know.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. All right, I'll
Hey.
let you keep going with the news.
Hey.
I like the news.
All right, we'll keep going with it. No, you're in anyway, so that's good. That's the main thing. I didn't want to miss out because I tend to forget to do that sometimes when I'm in the middle of it. All right, modal. Okay, so there was news earlier during the week that we don't need to keep that graphic. We can just talk. So there was news earlier during the week that modal was insolvent, and all these kind of crazy words were coming out. And then it kind of got a little bit diluted. This, you know, clickbaity type things, and I think Pro Synth Network kind of covered it a little bit. You know, so the answer is they're in a bit of trouble. I guess is what they're trying to sort of say. But there's definitely a future for them. There's definitely you know, hope, I guess. But I guess one of the things that we need to talk about here is that, you know, here we have these amazing, you know, synth manufacturing companies who are doing some really innovative stuff, right? And just think what modals popped out in the last year or two: the Argon, the Cobalt, the the Craft synth, the Arpeggiator app. I'll go to Andy, who's showing that, the Craft synth. Yep, beautiful. It's awesome,
It's a fun
right?
little guy. I like this.
It's a great thing. Some of the products...
And it's smart, too. You put the batteries here, and it makes a foot, so it sits at an angle.
Yeah.
It's very clever.
It is a really cool design. So I think industrial design, some of the GUI design on the synths are really good. The Argon 8's an amazing value for a wave.
Nice case, too.
Yeah, nice case. So let's just talk just briefly about modal specifically. We'll talk about the whole synth company sort of heading towards going bust in a sec, because the next company is probably more relevant. We'll talk about that in a sec, and then we can talk about them all together as a whole. So modal for a start. I mean, I'm a big modal fan. I mean, if I had more money, I'd have heaps more modal stuff here. I know they've gone through a couple of iterations of people that have worked there and running the show, and they've changed, you know, some people have left and formed other companies and all that sort of stuff. This stuff happens, right? It happens at Roland, it happens at Korg, it happens everywhere. So it doesn't define them and it doesn't undefine them. I'm just interested to hear your thoughts about the modal situation and Chatty's thoughts as well. So anyone can jump in, put your hand up if you want to go first.
Darren's.
I was just switching my mute off. I don't know what I was going to say then. It's completely gone. It's gone.
Let's start tonight with a seniors moment. No, I'm the
It's
same.
the age.
I'm the same.
Well, why don't we start with some love for modal? Maybe we'll start with that, because if modal are watching, you know, that might be a cool place for them to tap into, because I think right now that's kind of what they need. The community needs a bit of love. They need a bit of love. I know some people don't like them. Okay, it's cool. Some people don't like Moogs either. You know, some people don't like Behringer. Geez, God forbid that. So let's start with some love. Who wants to? Anyone?
Well, I don't own any modal products, unfortunately, but I got a lot of love for their, as you said, their industrial design. I think they've got really smart designers and they do some really cool stuff. So I've always wanted like one of their because they do some eurorack modules. I think they started with a lot of eurorack modules, didn't they? They did the original wavetable oscillators, which I'd always, since I saw, was like, oh wow, I'd love to be able to afford one of those one day. But so they've always had really nice looking modules, and they've always had really nice sounding stuff. So I think they're quite and they're one of the companies I think of as being quintessentially English. I don't know if that's true now, but I always thought them as the exemplar of sort of, the British design and manufacture coming back, which is, always nice to see. So but it's, the world we're living now, it's I can see why they have to restructure the company. I mean, it's when you talk about the fact that you can buy all this modal stuff, like there's hundreds of thousands of units going across the world, it's just a different scale. And this day and age, companies that size, it's very, very hard to keep them economical without a lot of creative structuring, as they call it. That's why they call it a restructure. So, I encourage them to persist, and I encourage them to continue, because we really don't want to see that kind of stuff disappear. It's really cool what they do, and I want them to keep doing it if at all possible. I'm out.
Yeah. That's well said. Yeah. Anyone here else own modal? I mean, Andy does. I do. I've got the Argon 8. Dave, do you have any modal stuff?
I had a sculpt for a while, and I sold it, but it really wasn't anything against it. I was just kind of going through one of those purges. It sounded great. It absolutely sounded fantastic for, I don't know, it was like $200, $150. It was cheap.
Dirt cheap.
I've looked at their desktops units a few times. In fact, I kind of had a few of them in my watch list, and everything sold right when that announcement happened. Everybody.
Oh, God.
So I guess some people freaked out. So the value kind of, but no, I want to see them last too. I think they fill a nice niche in the industry.
That's a good point.
I want the carbon to come out, and I just hope. Yeah, I just hope whatever is driving the financial issues, they can resolve it. I like them. So I was happy to hear that it wasn't totally over yet. I don't want to see them get bought. We're going to talk about what happens when companies get bought real soon.
We
Right.
Cleo agrees.
Preach. Yeah. But that's kind of where I'm at. I definitely would like. I'd like to. I've never been able to decide between the Argon and the Cobalt, which one I wanted. But
nice.
I like them. I like their stuff. So let's hope. I guess this is the time to support them. That's kind of where.
Well, yeah.
But I'm.
Maybe they.
I say that, but.
I don't know. Dare I say it? Maybe they need to put their prices up a bit. Dare I say it? That may help them. I mean, everyone else is putting prices up right now with this crazy inflation stuff that's going around the world, which, don't get me started on my conspiracy theories about that. But look, in some cases, it's actually, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think if we all understand that, maybe the accountant has gone through and seen that there's issues with their bottom line, their balance sheet, maybe the R&D was a bit too heavy. They definitely have popped out some really interesting stuff, and so I wouldn't be surprised if they had a big R&D bill.
I think the end of the day, the numbers don't lie, and when the accountants come in, it's brutal. It's a very clinical process. It has no emotions really to it. It's not supposed to, and they might be more subjected to someone taking a hard look at them and them taking the advice, because I think what we see sometimes is people probably not taking the advice and trying to cover up their financial issues, which is, I think, maybe what happened with the company we're getting ready to talk about, until it got so bad that there was nothing left, right? So
the skeleton in the closet type scenario, right?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully nobody will judge them based on what happened, right? Because I think it happens to the best of companies, you know.
I think you know, in this world, cash flow is king, right? So if you look at a lot of the successful businesses out there, they are kind of really pushing product after product after product. And what they're doing is they're generating instances, like millions of instances or thousands of instances of cash flow for themselves.
Continuity of cash flow.
Yeah.
So you've got overlapping products. You know, obviously, we all know the company that does the best job of overflowing all of their product releases.
What we don't know is the leverage. We don't know how much they're leveraging, and that's kind of where I'm alluding to. We make a lot of wild assumptions, but a lot of the companies that we know and love may be leveraging themselves to the hilt to just stay in business. So just because Modal came out and we're honest about it, because someone was going to find it on a sheet somewhere, that doesn't mean they're the only one, you know. So
yeah, and it definitely doesn't mean it's the end of them either. It just means that they're being open about it, which is sensible. You know, because your fans will embrace, and it may attract some industry interest in them as well. I don't know what their end game is. You know, because no one really knows what a director or a CEO's end game is with their company, right? You don't know. Sometimes it's good to tell us, you know, this is where we see ourselves in 5 years. This is what we plan to do, you know, and it depends what that vision is. It might be a really cool vision for us as musicians. We have to remember too that music instruments are quite a niche thing in the world. And it's not like a mainstream thing that everybody has. And there's a lot of different facets of types of music out there. So not everyone is into synthesizers. You know, it's only a small corner. I don't think you would get your average venture capitalist getting all excited about investing in a synthesizer company. That would just be off the top of my head, because, you know, it's these aren't flying off the shelf, these things, right? So
well, it'd be nice to see more of them out there. I mean, I always like the sound of them, but I only have this craft because, you know, it was cheap and I wanted to check it out. But if it didn't overlap with a lot of stuff I already own, I would have more modal stuff, because their designs are really nice looking, sturdy. They have medium size, large size. They still made racks for a while. They kind of covered the gamut, which is nice. And the build quality, the joystick on some of those is like the what's that one? What's the joystick we both have? I have it in front of me right now. The Planar 2.
Oh, the Planar 2, yeah.
The joystick is that quality. It's very good quality stuff.
Yeah.
You know? So
it's pretty good.
They didn't seem to skimp on anything, which is a testament to their aesthetics and their ethos. So.
Well, I mean, look, if anything, it could just be a very clever bit of marketing. Go check out Modal Synths and buy some of their gear, because they need your money. And not just that, because, you know, if you're thinking about getting one of these things, maybe it's a good time to get it. I know there was a couple of comments I heard during the week where people were saying, "Oh, we need to rush out and download firmware updates," and you know,
bit of a panic, wasn't there?
It was a bit of a panic thing going on, but I think that settled pretty quick, because, you know,
But I'm not sure if it's justified, though, in this day and age. I mean, can you guys think of any examples where companies have gone under and all of their support and software downloads have disappeared? I mean,
just smaller companies.
The only experience I've had was when Cakewalk died, so to speak, and through the whole period of their changing to a different company and then being bought by another company, and now they're in a new development phase where there's nothing coming out of them whatsoever until announcements occur. You can still activate their plugins. You can still check the things you purchased in your store. It's like I don't know if it's just unjustified people sort of getting scared that all of their support's going to disappear.
I have a modular example. Bird Kids out of Germany. They made a bunch of small modules over the years. Nothing major, just a bunch of different eurorack modules. Then they launched a Kickstarter, and it was for this little button controller thing, right? And it was one classic Kickstarter during COVID, part shortages, delays, all kinds of stuff, money issues. One day I was at Perfect Circuit, and they had them in stock. I go, I didn't even get mine yet from the Kickstarter. Why do you guys have it in stock? I don't know. Talk to them. So I emailed them back and forth, and they said, oh, yeah, we've actually finished a lot of the orders, but the money you paid didn't cover the shipping. I'm like, are you crazy? Well, things have changed. We can't afford to ship it to everybody. If you send us money for a box, with a box, we will ship it to you. And then like 2 months later, the company was gone. And the website's all shut down, and you can't even get the editor for the button controller anymore if you did buy it. So Perfect Circuit still sells the boxes. I never got mine, and the software is unavailable. This website's totally dead. So that's, people are worried about stuff like that. And this is something that was brand new that is now a dead product. Even the Wayback Machine doesn't have it. So,
I guess you've got to look at reputation then. How long the company's been in business, what their past performance has been, what their past philosophy has been.
There were small.
It's always an unknown quantity, of course, when it's a small company and it doesn't have a lot of history that you're aware of. It's tricky. Even sometimes the best intentions.
Roland do it, right? The thing with Roland is they haven't got. We're not worried about them going somewhere and closing down. But what we are worried about with them, and they do this all the time, let's start with Integra and all those sort of products, is they literally just dump their systems. They dump it. Like
planned obsolescence.
I honestly thought ACB was dead. Seriously, I thought when that Zen Core stuff came out, I thought, here we go. They're going to dump ACB. And I think maybe it was because of world peer pressure. Maybe they went, we'll keep ACB, and they brought a few products with more ACB, and they did a few updates with it. But I mean, a good example is these things here. These were absolutely genius products. Absolutely genius. Like when you think about what this is 2000 and what is it, 8 years old, right? 2015, 16, somewhere around there, right? These things have an app. The app is like VCV Rack when you think about how it works. It's 96K. It's high resolution stuff. These are genius. And they're not a standard. You know how like a standard module is like you've got all your electronics flapping around in the breeze, so all your electrons fall out, right? Like that. They're actually a sealed unit. There's a bottom on these, so the electronics isn't flapping around in the breeze. You can actually sit it on your desk. I think that some of their products are absolutely amazing, and they just dump them, and they dump those. They don't make them anymore. I honestly believe there would be quite a lot of people that would buy one of those eurorack modules from Roland, even if they brought out a couple more. They're all digital, by the way, but it doesn't matter. Who cares? What's wrong with that?
Yes, it's like Roland. It's like they just kind of get bored.
Yeah,
they go so far down the road, and then they go, "Nah, bored of that. I'll work on something else."
Like they've got ADHD.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say it because I didn't want to ruffle any.
I'm saying it with tongue in cheek.
Neurodiverse friends, but
yeah, of course, sensitivity to those people. But going back to Modal,
that's true. Yeah.
Modal aren't one of these people. I guess since their latest bunch of gear that's come out, they've actually been very active in keeping their products up to date. They've released firmware updates. Their web integration is really, really high end. They're actually quite polished. I mean, if anyone has any dealings with, I know there's going to be some people that will have a little whinge about something with their modal synth. It doesn't do this, and they promised it would, and there's always one of those squeaky wheel type people. But I think in general they're a good company, and they should be, if we can somehow keep them going, or someone should keep them going. Now, speaking of that, if someone should keep them going. That's a good segue to this next company. Should someone have keep them going? Oh, that was a great idea, wasn't it, people? Someone keep them going. Because what's happened is, if you haven't actually worked this out, there's a whole bunch of people at Moog who literally have been given the sack, according to some reports that we're seeing now. I don't know whether this has been 100% confirmed or not, so I do apologize if this is just gossip or whatever you want to call it, but it's pretty solid gossip across the interwebs, definitely. I don't think anyone's debunking it at this stage. There's some very surprised people. At the same time, there's some very told you so type people out there as well. Now, we knew about Moog being bought out by in-music brands, right? We knew about it. We thought this is going to happen. I think there was a small hope that maybe they would have kept the Asheville place going, and maybe they were going to make some high-end gear through that. And I don't know. We're not saying this is that they are closing it yet, because there isn't any news that they are. But they did dump a whole bunch of employees, and that usually says to me that if they're going to do that, that means that they've got those people with those skills somewhere else in the world, armed to do the work that they were doing.
Or they soon will. That's what my former company did.
Yeah.
Closing all the U.S. sites except for one or two, and everything's going overseas.
Yeah. And that's really sad for those people that work there, and I actually really, really feel bad for them, because it's happening all over the world. There's people losing jobs for a whole bunch of bad reasons, not good. And I don't know. I mean, in-music might have their plans what to do with Moog, but right now, the taste in most people who are absolute big fans of Moog in their mouths at the moment is pretty sour. Would you agree, guys?
It's
That's
pretty
why
bitter.
Amos Gaines. One of the reasons Amos Gaines left, I'm sure, he left like 2 years ago or something.
Well,
You saw it coming.
Yeah, he did. Well, I think one of the things I could probably say, and I don't know if you agree with me or not, but one of the things I love about Moog, and we talk about all the way back from when, Bob used to run the place, right? Was that it was a human sort of, there was a human touch to everything that they did. There was a human, there was almost like an organic sort of part to them, right? Do you know what I mean? So like the way that they built things, it was handmade. Not everything. I know. We can clutch at straws here, but not everything was I know some of it was sent off to China. Look, let's not go there. Most of their stuff was handmade. Most of it was designed by a very small crew of people. Most of it was done with love. A lot of it didn't make profit for them. They just wanted to make good music products. And that's really that is something to be honored, seriously. So if at very least we can do right now is honor those people that have served for Moog Music for the last 40 years, we should really honor them, because I think this is a massive sort of fork in the road for that company, where it will go. I'm not saying that in-music's going to completely screw it up.
No.
But I think we need to question what their motives are really, truly now. Okay, guys, I'm handing it over to you to talk about it, because I know you guys will have a lot to say about this one. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I mean, I'm a huge Moog fan, for a long time. To me, it's over. I'll be really frank. It's over for me. What they were, and Bob's legacy, he's gone. I really enjoyed them, and I don't want affordable, cheap Moog products. I can get that with a gazillion other manufacturers. What I loved was the really cool high-end, the Moogafogers, the 500 series stuff. To me, that's, the Mini Moog, the Voyager. To me, that's Moog. That's who I loved. I appreciate that, they did things like the Mother 32 and some of these others, and I dig them, but it's, to me, it's overkill. I don't need any of that stuff. What I loved about Moog was the really high quality stuff. I got the cluster flops, it's like we're just not getting this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to get that anymore. And honestly, the software is so good that why are you buying all this $1,000 hardware stuff? You might as well just use the software, unless they come out with something really good. And I think the Moog 1 was a great shot for them. They just couldn't pull it off. They had put themselves in probably such a financial situation that they bailed on it. So for me, I hate to see all those people lose their jobs. I think the writing was on the wall, but I'd rather them get out of that place, give it to Michelle, let it be a museum. If you want to make a few high-end products, that's awesome. Maybe we'll get a little better scale within music, but if in music's just going to try to give us Mother 32s and DFAMs, then to me it's over. But that's where I am with the company. I don't. They were innovators and really, to me, I liked them because they were a little higher end, and so I just don't want this low budget Moog. I know a lot of people want that. They want it, but that's not what to me they are. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, good thoughts. I think Behringer are the low budget Moog, right? Do we need in music to be making a Behringer? I don't know.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Rance.
We'll keep going. You go to you. Yeah.
Okay. I was just going to say that we need a budget Moog. I mean, for example, if you get a Behringer Moog clone, and you get a Behringer Moog clone in your hands, and you go, that's what I expect. It's that level of quality, no more, no less. Exactly what I expect. It's consistent. If I got that from a genuine Moog instrument, I would not be happy. That's not the reason, really, why we buy the Moog stuff. I mean, I know it's a bit irrational that, if something sounds the same as something else, or some idea come through that's, generated by Bob Moog in his, lab, and, we still love that sound. And if someone else is producing it today in a completely different manner and nothing to do with the original company, that we should still, worship the sound, so to speak. But there is just something weird about all of this. It's like, it's just weird that Moog appears to be going in this direction. Having said that, we are going to have to wait and see what they put out. And even if the first thing they put out seems like a complete own goal, it's the first thing they put out. They're not going to get it right. If they're going to evolve to something that we, is successful and that we do love in the synth community, they're not going to get it on their first, new Moog product, are they? It's going to take time, I think, for them to work out what to do. So I think we kind of have to be a little bit patient here and just see how it comes out. So I'm not willing to rule them in or rule them out. I think it's kind of good that they're still in the playing field, and if they stay on the playing field, that's kind of, you can't. I mean, if you're not on the playing field, how are we going to know where this could go? But otherwise, it's just, as my little sign says, I feel pretty sad about it.
I like the little sign.
Thank you.
Have they been here before, though? I mean, look at the history of Moog, right? Have they been here before?
That's the thing. If you look through history, before social media, we didn't get nearly as much real-time nature and step-by-step, day-by-day, decision-by-decision rundown on what was going on. You had maybe a handful of people in the same state, the same country, who knew what was going on, and it was the gossip between them and their friends and their musos, and that was a tiny community of people knew what was going on with Moog, and whether they were having financial problems or doing well or restructuring.
Well, if you've been an Apple fan for a few decades, Apple had these problems as well. So they almost died
in a bigger
times.
Scale.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't know how much you guys have got experience with different types of other musical instruments, though. So, for example, with me, I've got kids that do, violin and things like that, and they play in orchestras, right? And you go to these big, massive school orchestra events, and you see, some of these really, really good kids who have been playing violin since they were in diapers or nappies, we call them over here. And they've got, really expensive violins in their hands. And then, there's my kid with the one that the school's issued. It's probably like, $300 violin. But that one, that really expensive one, is going to sound so much better. But once you've got all that orchestra playing, they all sound like violins, right? And we kind of, we are, I think we're stretched between two paradigms here, with our love for our gear and the need to have, quality and things like that. But then there's this in the mix. There's the in the mix sort of conundrum that we're faced. It's like the digital to analog recordings. I've got analog gear, but you recorded it on a DAW. There's all of this stuff that really just pulls our arguments right out and just makes us look like fools in a sense. But we're not fools. We have a love for our gear. We're not fools at all. Yeah, I think Moog does offer that in the past, and definitely, obviously, hopefully in the future. But they offered that quality side. DSI and Dave Smith Sequential offered that quality side. Gosh, I'm not going to be shot down for saying Behringer don't. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not going out there saying our gear is built in the Himalayan mountains next to alpacas, and we take pride in every single potentiometer that's threaded on with the Zen. None of this happens, right? But yeah, I think we've got to sort of work out where we all personally sit with this whole thing, because who knows? In music might do something really cool with that company, and that might be a cool thing. I think
sadly in the future, kids will think of Moog like this. This will be Moog.
That's what I'm saying. I'm hoping it's not going to appear on my MPC screen as another plugin menu.
Yeah,
you've got the Air plugins, you've got the Moog plugins, and you've got the Akai plugins. I hope it's not going to be something really, really silly like that, because that would be sad. Maybe, is this the death of the analog synth? Again, people, we've been through this in the 80s. Remember? The dawn of the digital age. The microprocessor came powering through into synthesizers. It's not, though, is it?
Well, even Dave Smith, he has a lot of stuff with digital oscillators. He has a lot of stuff with digital oscillators and analog filters. And still gives an analog quality overall. So,
yeah. Darren, what do you have that's Moog? Muted. Unmute.
That's probably why I didn't hear. Just the DFAM.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sort of a bit with Chris here. I think really you have to wait and see. You're going to have the classic Moog that's now finished, and from 2023 onwards, it's going to be a new incarnation. Now, whether that's going to be good and fans are going to like it and they're going to come out with good products, I think we're going to just have to wait and see. It obviously wasn't going to continue as the classic, the Moog as we knew. But like you say, Ranz, maybe they might, I don't know, still make good products with the Moog name. We won't know, I think. Like I say, until, and as Chris said, actually, the first product that comes out, it could be one of those, it'll either be, oh my God, this is what Moog come to, and everyone hates it and run away, or it'll be, aha, maybe there is light at the end of the tunnel. But until they've decided, I presume they know what they're going to do, or have ideas, but until we see what actually becomes of it, I think I'm not going to really say one way or the other. As usual, I'll be sitting on the fence until we sort of get a good idea or see what's coming out of there. Like I say, we might all be crying and Moog will be a classic thing of the long gone eras, or who knows, it could be the new 2023 version of Moog, which is obviously what's going to happen because they're gonna want make money, whatever. So we'll just have to see. I think let's wait and see.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I love these little guys, but by making these, it made it easy for them to Behringer to rip them off, unfortunately, because they're pretty simple inside. So unfortunately, it did encourage some
yes,
theft.
they kind of showed everyone how to interface microprocessor technology with analog electronics. Thank you, Moog, Behringer said. Yeah,
exactly. There you go. Before and after.
I'm such a bad person for getting that because I didn't buy a Moog. But
it is purple.
It is purple. But am I because I have one of these?
That's what I was thinking you were going to show.
I don't have. That's not my only Moog product. I did get rid of all my Moogafocus though, but that was purely because I had a debt to pay, and that was the right time to sell.
You sold at a good time, yeah.
But at the same time, I honestly think that those apps that they made for those Moogafocus were killer. They were really, really good. They're not going to be perfectly analog-like, but they were really, really well done. I'm interested to see, like you guys, where this is going to go. I think the chatties were saying pretty similar stuff. I put a couple of comments up. There's a few people that are happy with the fact that Moog has been bought out and
well, at least it's not wishy-washy management, is it? It's pretty definitive actions being taken.
Yeah. Yep.
So there is that.
So the issue, if you want to look at it from my point of view personally, there's some Moog products that I will buy.
Definitely want a crazy uncle.
And there's other Moog products that I won't because I don't see the value in them, right?
Crazy uncle.
Would you guys have that theory in your head, or would you think that they're all valuable, or they're all good?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think nowadays it's hard to find the value. I mean, I'm just waxing nostalgic. 15 years ago, I would check the Moog page every day, and it was so much fun. It was just so much fun, whether it was a mini Fugger coming out or a reissue. Like I said, they had a really wonderful sweet spot. It's just gone for now. So, it's not, look, I love the subharmonicon, it's probably of all the modern kind of synths I bought next to maybe the Mini Freak, I think it's just spectacular. But being interesting and being very Moogish at the same time. But it's kind of pricey, But Ranzee, I mean, you kind of hit the software is really good, and you really can get the flavor from it. So you got to ask. The other part of me says, why I'm not going to buy this expensive stuff either, See, now in the States, I will caveat, the used market for Moog stuff is way better. So I've always been able to pick up. I just sold my grandmother for don't make any jokes. $650. I know. I just get it over with. $650, so we in the States we flip a lot of Moog gear, so there is a correlation between being in the States and seeing these Moog studios. It's way more affordable. So
we gotcha. Yeah.
So you have to kind of keep that in context, right? Because I didn't buy all brand new Moog stuff. I always bought. I mean, you could get for a long time. You could get the Fogers for $200, $250, $300, all over the place. So,
and you don't.
But we're not
from
there
the
anymore.
Exchange rate issue like we do, So
no, and just
and the shipping costs as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. Look, sometimes if you really, really want something, you'll wear that shipping cost and you'll just go, don't care, get it here. How much is it? Yeah. And I did that with the, not a Moog, but I did it with the S2400 from Isla when that first came out. And I thought, geez, I really want this thing. I don't have it anymore. But at the time,
I did it with the microcosm.
But
paid the customs duty on it. Everything it was nasty.
What'd you pay for shipping on that S2400?
Lots. It was like insane. It was like
200 and something.
$200 and something
Wow.
Australian, and the customs on top of that cost probably about the same again because I had to pay GST,
10% GST,
and import duty tax as well because it was nasty and it got
Damn.
yeah. And I was angry with Brad because he wouldn't like write a smaller amount on the invoice.
Yeah,
It only needed to be $100 less, and it would have been duty free for me.
Wow.
But he wasn't prepared to do that because he's playing fair.
Exactly. He's sticking to the rules.
Which is fair. I probably shouldn't have asked him.
Yeah.
That's not
He
really
doesn't want to get audited for that stuff.
Yeah. But you
got to ask.
You gotta,
yeah. It's only a little me here. It's not like I'm Moog Music or anything.
I mean, technically, he could have given you 2 transactions, right?
He could have, I guess. Yeah, he could have split it into 2.
He could have. I mean, he could have,
yeah.
But he could have. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been nice.
Anyway, that's history, and I don't hold any grudges against the guy because he makes a good product. And let me tell you, that S2400 is a really, really cool product, and there's some really exciting things that he's doing with that.
Just had a firmware update.
Well, he's got these cards coming out for it as well.
Daughter cards for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for those people who get along with that product, yeah. Anyway, there has been some Moog products in the past that I haven't got along with, for sure. Yeah. So I'm sure some of you have had Moogs and parted with them. I know there's
hope they still make the Clarivox. I really want to get that Clarivox fancy theremin. It's beautiful.
Well, I know guys who have had mini Moogs and hated them. So, and I understand why they're like that with them, because I think it takes a certain person to be able to use one, and it takes, and that person can't be impatient. You can't be an impatient person.
No presets.
Yeah.
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 You can't be looking for fast, instant results unless it's a tiny tweak away from where you were before.
Oh, you look at ARP. They fixed the whole tuning issue that Moog had with their oscillators, pretty much. I mean, it wasn't 100% perfect, by the way, because analog oscillators still go out of tune. But most of those ARP oscillators didn't really go out of tune. They were stable as hell. And there'd be people with 2600s in the 70s and 80s, right? And they'd be like, "Look at me! I turn it on once, tune it once, and I'm still here." And you guys are going back and tuning your synth every hour on stage, and it sucks to hitting the 440 tuning button and oh yes, there now. Okay, quick back play again. That's the life of an analog Moog synth owner, right? And there's some people that hated it. They hated it so much. This is why digital synths had a revolution in the 80s, because of that.
Or at least DCO analog.
Or DCO, yeah.
DCO was pretty
we forget about that, don't we? We kind of...
It
now
works.
we embrace it. We embrace it like it's a cool thing. Give me a detuney oscillator that is just a bitch.
Yeah.
It just
Give me
goes
some
out of tune.
organics.
Yeah. Give me something that's going
I want it to live. I want green to sprig out of it with roots coming out.
Yeah.
I want to have to water it every 4 days.
I think with these two announcements that I just made, Modal and Moog, I think getting sort of a little bit, worried or having anxiety about this stuff, if it really worries you, I think the best thing, like advice from what you guys were saying, what people in chat were saying, is just chill, wait and see what happens, take a breath. You never know, it might be a cool thing, it might not be, but you're not going to be able to change anything by getting onto social media and being a keyboard warrior about it right now, because they're not even going to listen to you, to be honest, to be fair. Yeah. Anyone else want to make a comment before we move on to the next? There is a couple more news, by the way. Don't Chris said, don't name your synth company starting with M. Wow. Deep. Hey? Deep. Right, all right, let's go.
The
next thing is this. We showed this a while ago when Behringer released the prototype, I guess it was. Forget.
It's
No,
a little bit further on.
It is. It's progressing. Now, Chris, you want to talk about this because you brought this to my attention.
I did. Yes, I saw it come up on my usual Behringer feed, and we've talked about it before, but this is the first time they've shown it kind of in the form that it's probably going to be closer to what's actually going to come out, because they've addressed the things that they didn't show in the mock-ups before, which is that it has the sound sets for both the standard EEPROMs and the percussion-only EEPROMs, because it always came with 2 sets of EEPROMs, if I recall correctly. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. And they've got, so it's got all of them in the one machine, so that's 15, looks like 15 voices, basically counting the sliders, because the slider on the right is for a click track. Don't know why they decided to leave that in. 16 pads. The pads look like the pads on the Drum Brute Impact and Drum Brute Standard. So unfortunately, no clicky clacky. If you're hoping for the clicky clackies to come back, it doesn't look good for. I do. Having had the clicky clackies now in the poly end, I do kind of get that nostalgic kind of. Oh damn! It doesn't have the clicky clackies. Oh, hang on a second.
Does that mean they're going to add velocity to this?
Oh well, I don't think the Drum Brute Impact has velocity. Anyone correct me if I'm wrong? I've got the feeling
the original Drum Brute does.
Does it? Okay. Well, I stand correct.
Yeah.
Probably the same. It probably does have velocity then. Does have. Did the original in-drum have pan as well? I can't remember. I noticed that there's definitely a pan there. Can't remember. Yeah. But they've got a nice amber screen. I don't know how they wangled that. I didn't think you could get those. And it seems to have a pretty standard sort of, Behringer drum machine brain on the left-hand side, but it's all sort of Lin drum on the right-hand side. There is a thing at the top there. It looks like it says Wave Designer. Now, I was first thinking, oh, cool, they've got some kind of effect you can add to each individual drum. I'm now not so sure. We may be disappointed that may be only on the master. Which, starting to sound a little bit like they're just kind of trying to stretch potential out of it, because they decided they couldn't do any effects per drum. Because that's the thing about a Lin drum. Although we all love, and we were just talking about it before, how we like to microscope in on the sound of things. That's kind of what we do. It's what we enjoy. But we also like to hear great stuff in a mix. And when it comes to Lin drums, I really need effects on them. to really
if individual out, you can take care of that. So
that's true, but then of course that means you need a vast array of effects. Now I know Wagyu would have a massive rack full of effects that he could put each individual drum through, and I get that, but not so much here.
Get a couple of effects aids, hook them up.
Samples, right, on the Lin drum.
Yeah, but they were, all digital, so they're all 8-bit and 12-bit, and they had particular sample rates. Yeah, they were unique. Yeah,
they were
in implementation.
So you have to reproduce them in a certain way. It would be very, very easy to get those bits, binary code, and reproduce the samples. But the DACs and all that sort of stuff are going to be where the truth is going to come out with this, right? That's going to be the truth.
That's the thing, whether they've reproduced stuff in the digital world, or whether they've gone the full analog, or what I would say discrete componentry to produce the samples, and whether tacking on a digital processor board, which would have to be 24-bit 96K to really grab with 100% fidelity the crunchiness that's coming out of the old school circuitry, because that's what we would do. We were tracking it. We track it into a decent interface so that we capture all of the grittiness.
Knowing Behringer, it'd be an ARM Cortex.
So the question is whether it is basically a piece of software in a box, or whether it's a hybrid combination. you're probably right, Rance, because we are talking, they're talking, it sounds like they want to get this out pretty quickly. And if they do, generally what they do is that they get the front panel sorted out. That's the priority. Then the brains come in as quickly and as cheaply as possible, using as many of the reused components as they do in their production line that they use for other stuff. And we haven't seen a whole lot of other stuff from them involving, real old school DACs and real old school.
I wonder how long those silicon pads are going to last for. Because when you think about those Linn drum machines, they're like, what are they, 30, nearly 40 years old, right? And a lot of them, the pads or the buttons, I think we won't call them pads. They've lasted pretty much the test of time.
They still work, yeah.
But are these silicon pads, do you reckon they're going to last?
Well, are they going to last longer than some of the others?
The early MPC ones seem to have lasted, but there are stories of people replacing them, stuff like that. I don't know if you really care. Like, you buy one of these things, Behringer, it's going to be cheap,
isn't it?
Yeah, if it fails after 5 years, you're probably not.
You might wear the graphics off the pad, but it'll still work.
Yeah, exactly. All right, there's that. We still don't know the price. I would assume, and I'm only assuming, that it's going to be similar to the TR9, RD9, and the RD8, and the filter, the analog filter that they showed on it, which I'll show again at the top there, is probably the same as the RD8.
Yeah, that's what I suspected. That's what made me think that the wave shaper, whatever they call it, wave designer, is probably also a global effect.
Yeah. All right. So I should stay there because I wanted to go to the next one. And the next one, no, it's not there actually. Wahey! The next one is Darren's suggestion. And that is the DF audio stuff. Darren, here we go.
Oh, cool. What a fun little video.
Good video, and if you're into patching stuff, you're really gonna like that.
I also like the big patch bay that he does as well, which you can blame a mixers now from the big. There's a bigger patch bay, which is really cool.
These are $40 each, and they're available to pre-order now. That's pretty cheap. I think they're passive, right?
And if you, I mean, like Chris, you probably could build them anyway, so it's probably not. But for people who can't build anything or don't want to build it, this is quite a small, nice little patch bay, desktop, bigger one as well.
Do you have one yet?
Yeah, that
Darren. Or?
I haven't got one now, but this is what I'm looking at.
No. Oh yeah, I was going to say, I think the metal enclosure is definitely a must because they need to be heavy enough not to move around when they're sitting down. That's the thing. First thing I thought of, you could see, many, you know, kind of DIY approaches and 3D printed boxes, but the first problem with any of those kind of solutions is they don't have any weight in them. And when they don't have any weight in them, it's really hard to patch stuff. It's hard to patch stuff into stuff that keeps on moving around. I've
same size as a Bastel Castle, you can get the whole set.
Yeah, you can chuck Velcro on the bottom of them, though.
Exactly. You could.
Yeah, but that means you have to put Velcro on the other side of them on whatever it is that you're using. You need the matching.
And I like that mini. Is it the patch bay 2, the big one? That looks patch, very interesting. Especially
mini bay V2. Yeah, that looks really cool. Let's have a look at that.
Yeah, that looks cool because it's. I think even the video for that's all right as well. He's telling you TRS. Blended. That's quite interesting as well.
I love the way it's such classic kind of 70s, early 80s type aesthetic too. Really, really utilitarian.
Yeah. It's quite a simple form factor, isn't it?
I think.
So that big one's quite.
Yeah, it's not huge.
Factor. Yeah. So how much are these?
And it runs TRS.
How much are the big ones? Let's have a look. 206. This is Australian. Let's change it to US for everyone, so that can all.
It's not bad for a big patch bay like that.
Are these?
I know it's not big as in size.
Are these guys based in Australia? Yeah. These guys are Australian.
Yeah, they're Australian bands.
Right.
Yeah, so you should be able to just walk around.
That's what gave that away was when I was looking at the prices, how it all went to some weird like 167.49. But when I was on Australian dollars, it was
what gave it away, Ranz, was when I listened to the video for that Mini Baby V2. When he was talking, I thought he sounds very Australian.
Yeah.
He's like, "G'day, mate. Yeah, Mikey, you guys got an easy patch."
He was doing a Paul Hogan impersonation.
No, he's
throw another shrimp on the Barbie.
He's just been hanging around too much.
That's not a patch bay. This is a patch bay.
Fair dinkum. Yeah.
That's a great idea. Darren, I definitely think that if that's something that's going to help you with your live rig, that's a definite goer. I definitely, when I was watching that video, I was thinking to myself, there were times when I was mucking around with Volkers and stuff like that. You might look at my YouTube channel and I had videos where I did things like coffee table jams and stuff like that. That would have been so handy back in 2014 when I was doing stuff back then. Where were you in 2014? Yeah. It's only like 9 years later. Yeah, cool. What are you looking at? So a couple of $100, you know, 150 bucks. That's really awesome. Yeah, what would you get, Darren? Would you get the V2 or the Nano patch?
I quite like the Nano patch is probably good for live because that can integrate into your desk quite easily. But I like the V2 as well, the bigger one, which is perfect for it. I quite like it. Banging in effects and in mixers and out. It's the more I look at it, the more I'm thinking that'll be good. That I mean, I've got like you say the Behringer 19-inch fat ones. Which are all right.
But we don't use them, do you? They're miles away from you.
No, exactly. Empty. It's miles away from you, but desk mounted. I put stuff on it. Take it off.
I got
the modular.
This guy should do some modular stuff.
Covers everything now.
This guy should do like a VCA matrix thing, you know, on the cheap. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, the cool thing is you can leave the cable partially patched like I do in a lot of my modules. So when you're ready to go, you just put it in and pop it out. But it's still kind of sitting there, so it's ready to go. Yeah. In lieu of having switches or mutes or something like that, you can just have it sitting there.
Much cheaper than switches and mutes, obviously.
Yeah.
The wonders of control voltage.
In them.
We'll probably do a version one day with switches.
That is it for the news. So we made it through the news. That was quite a bit. Obviously, the bigger, meatier topics were those two brands, copping a bit of flack during the week. Anyway, out of all of that stuff, so we had the Castle ARP, the 3 modules from Nekia Circuits, which was the Root Locus, the Opal, the Obsidian, and the Sosumi. Then you had the DF audio stuff we just showed, and also I guess another mention of the Behringer LM drum. So out of all those, what would be your favorite? Actually, I'm going to start with David because he's come in. He's come in. David, you're going to go first, mate.
Oh, well, my favorite is probably the Lindrum. That looks super useful. But I'll have to say that little mini patch bass. I'm really in the studio design, and I'm just looking at all these little things in the eurorack and thinking, wow, that makes a lot of sense just to put it on the table full time and lay in bed at night and just design patch systems, you know what I mean, for like hardware jams. So
yeah, cool.
I'm going with those two, but I guess I'd probably always take a drum machine first. I wish it had all out from the back. Yeah, like I don't know. So yeah,
there was another photo. I didn't know if I grabbed it or not. I'll check it in a sec. I think there was another photo. Darren,
it's only slightly. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's on a different angle. Okay.
I'm gonna go with the little Bastel and the patch bass.
Geez, I'm not surprised at all.
Both park bench compatible.
Exactly.
That's PBA park bench approved.
Park bench compatible stuff is going to be so big it won't be park bench compatible.
One of your albums has to be something to do with park bench. The title it has to. I mean, it's
just the cover of it's just the park bench.
PCB,
itself, just the cover.
Yeah.
Just the park bench sitting there. Nothing. Just the park bench.
Andy, what about yourself?
PCB Volume 1.
Anything from that?
Oh, Lindrum's always a classic thing. So yeah, that's really nice. But yeah, those patch bass are great. I mean, going way back, even before I had modular stuff and even before the Volcas, I used to make my own little patch bass out of those little Belkin headphone splitters. And I found the little headphone extenders with the volume control you can buy on Amazon and stuff. Because they don't have any kind of special diodes or routing control in there. They're just outs. So in order to avoid crosstalk, and some things have a louder output than another, you have to use volume controls on every output. And so those are my portable mixers. I could roll them up, put them in my pocket, and I had a 5-channel mixer, or patch bay, depending on how I wired it. So I've been into this stuff for a long time, but having a nice little professional little metal box that's cheap is perfect. So it's great.
Nice. Chris?
I'm going to be boring again and basically say what David said. No, the Lindrum, I'm still romantically involved with the Lindrum, so I have to see more of that before I dismiss that as being something I'm going to pursue or not. And the little boxes are cool because I've had so many annoying patching issues with this little mixer down here that I'm going, oh, actually that would really help. Because I'm always patching in and unpatching stuff for doing videos and stuff like that. So that seems like a no-brainer. I'll be looking up that website after, for sure.
Yeah. Now we do have a news update, which I haven't done one for a while actually, and this is because when we did our news last week on the feedback modules, I did email them to tell them that I was doing some stuff on their stuff. And the owner has come back to me, but he didn't get the email quite in time for me to show the information on the show. So what I thought we'd do, a couple of hours out. But what I thought I'd do is I'll show you, this is what we were talking about last week. If you just refresh your memory, we're talking about the 2600 stuff, right? The VCF and the VCA, okay? So we had those that we were talking about. And okay, so what he did is he sent through a couple of really interesting things in the email. First one is he sent through this picture, which is actually of the circuit board of the 2600 VCF, and he's made some comments on the email. So let's talk about it. Why did we make and adapt the 2600 clones when there are so many? Which I think was a question that I might have asked on the show actually. It's because we want it to be made. This is, by the way, this is translated from another country to English, by the way. So I'll try and make it sound better for him. This is because they wanted it to be made better as they were respecting a lot of the audio PCB designs that were around, the rules that were around at the time. Both the VCF and the VCA have matched transistors and the VCF has polystyrene capacitors for filtering, which really improves the sound. And another thing, it gives the modules a DIY purpose as well, because they use through-hole. I think someone even mentioned that when we were talking about them on the show. So that DIY purpose. So this is the VCF, and this is the VCA. And so you can see the polystyrene capacitors there. He also the other thing too is
transistors. Actually, I think they might be matched transistors, that have been covered in shrink for a reason for that particular circuit. It looks like he's put shrink wrap over the two.
Yeah, he's pointing out
transistors. Or is that he said there's also, is this one the one that had temperature compensation of some description? Because that may be a temperature coupled device that he's using there, which is one transistor is affected by the heat of the other transistor.
That's a that's a VCA, that one. So yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
What else did he
say? I noticed
it
before.
He said the LF20, which I should probably get up on here. The LF20 is this one. No. Where's it gone? Come back here. Sorry, I've lost it. It's scrolling on me. There it is. The LF20 is this one. I don't know if I can zoom in. Hey, go back. Go back. Pause. Okay, it's playing. That's what it was. All right, there we go. Way. There we go. The LF20, he says, please highlight the chaining feature so that you can reset or stop this LFO with another LFO like this or any other LFO. So the chaining feature...
Reset is less found. It's not found on LFOs very much. And it was the first thing I wished I had on one of the LFO kits that I built. And so much so that I started looking at circuits to try and work out how to do that, and decided in the end that it was all too much trouble.
Yeah.
So putting it in one is like good move as far as I'm concerned.
Good. Now this other one, this one actually received quite a bit of love from us as well, and he did write this in the email, and I'll read it again. But you probably might remember this is exactly what we said on the show. The pulse idea was taken from an SH-101 and improved to our needs as a sub-octavator, like mixing the signals in all the way possible of having the outputs available. So there you go. So we mentioned, he never told me about the SH-101, and we mentioned that on the show, that it makes your System 100M Behringer modules sound like a SH-101. There you go. So,
by the way, the Poti adds a reset to the Batumi, so.
Yes, it does. It does, yeah. If you've got the Poti. But if you don't have the Poti, you can use, there's some pins that you can use.
Sure.
And you can wire them into like a patch if you want to.
That's all they did. It's just a switch.
Yep.
Yeah, it probably has the circuit because it's digital. The Batumi is digital, isn't it? It's digitally.
I think it is.
CPU driven.
Sure it is. Someone will tell us in chat.
Which opens up all of the possibilities, of course.
Yep. All right, so that covers any stuff that we missed out on with the modules. Now, all of his modules now are up on Modular Grid 2, by the way, which is really cool. Right, we should keep going. Keep going. What about this? Price Watch, baby. Brought to you by Andy, Synth Addict. Really. I think we'll just go through some of these pretty quick. So what do we got here? Korg 800DV Duophonic synthesizer with case for $4,000 US. Yeah. The Korg 800s, I guess they're not so well known, right? They're not so well known.
Didn't OMD use an 800 Korg 800 DV?
I'm trying to think who. I mean, just whenever you read those Synth Explorer articles, I think Jean-Michel Jarre used every synth in there.
Yeah.
Vangelis used every synth in there. I think it was Soft Cell or someone like that used it.
Soft Cell, yeah.
Might have been them. But these came out in 1975, if you're wondering how long these are around. 2 oscillators. They scale from 2-foot up to 64. Triangle, square, sawtooth, pulse width modulation. There's pink and white noise. There's a sub oscillator, and there's 2 scales of those. 2 LFOs. One does pulse width and one does vibrato. There's 4 VCFs with a traveler, high pass, low pass. That's the interesting thing of this synth, I think. And the keyboard was a bit naff, but yeah. Who has one of these? Anyone in the chat have one of these? Let's have a quick look.
Or has played one? Anyone?
Yeah, no picture of my wheels. Yeah, no. All right, cool. Hey, not that one. That one. Hey, what happened to my graphic? Does it go? Can I get it back? Hey. All right, next. The Korg Wave Station, I think it meant to say. Wave Station. EX. Now, the EX...
I have the EX rack, but it wasn't anywhere near that price.
Yeah. I don't think they're that rare, are they? The EX? It's a pretty crazy price.
Sorry, not the EX, the AD rack.
Yeah, the AD rack.
Which is actually my favorite.
I know the EX was not like a standard one, but yeah, I don't think it was that rare. But someone's probably just taken the P1. There you go, there's a Lin drum.
Hey.
This one's the digital drum machine, the 9000.
Yeah.
Which has got the MIDI
got the MIDI stuff. Not as well as Sawdover as the 2 and the...
There's one Jan Hammer used a lot, plus it has the 80s graphics on it. So.
Yeah, it was very much,
But that one was actually quite a decent one, I remember. I remember actually seeing one of those in the studio once.
Oh, yeah. No, it was the forerunner of the first MPC, wasn't it? Because it was pretty much Roger Lynn teaming up with Akai to make the MPC, so that was really where it started.
Yeah, and there's some real MPC-esque features on this too.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That actually might be a cool product to get your hands on if you can. But I don't think $8,000 is kind of what you'd pay. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. What have we got here? Oberheim Matrix 12. Everyone's calling for Behringer to remake the Oberheim Matrix at the moment. I don't know. I know there's people that like it, but I think it was a bit of a madman's dream.
They sound wonderful. I played one at Synthplex last year. It's so cool.
But they're an absolute nightmare to use, though. That's the thing.
Just getting presets on it was a pain in the ass.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying. Like, they might have sounded amazing, but they were an absolute night. So I remember some years ago, I was talking, this is probably like 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. I was talking to someone about how, I reckon analog synths are coming back in, and, they're starting to come up in price. And this guy goes, I tell you what, if you want to get the cheap analog synth, get yourself an Oberheim Matrix. They sound amazing, but you just have to get your head around the way they program. He said, you'd be all right with that. You're a computer science guy. You should be fine. I'm like, I went and played one. I went, yeah, not for me. I've got better things in life to do than try and whip my head around that. Some people love it.
The Matrix 6 is easier to use, but doesn't sound nearly as good. So.
Isn't there an expander for this, though, that makes it a lot easier?
Yeah, there is. Oberheim expander,
yeah. The one I played didn't have the expander. Anyway, let's keep going. That price, by the way, was nasty. Oberheim Matrix 12 again. This one's the...
Look at that price.
Yeah, it's starting to get nasty, isn't it?
Yikes.
Yeah.
It's $3,000 for the synth and $22,000 for the flight case.
And what a lovely flight case it must be.
Yeah, it's like mine. How it's got green.
For American shipping, that's very expensive.
That is very nasty. And don't forget, you're the one that took these screenshots. Oh, that's the Netherlands, though.
Yeah.
That is in the Netherlands. So.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, I've seen stuff in the U.S. shipping that much as well. It's crazy.
Someone said in chat, I think it was Heath, you said you can buy a Honda Civic instead.
Yeah.
Priorities, guys. Priorities. There was a meme for that. Profit 10. Oh, so okay. Ooh. We would like talking about profits recently when the 5 came out and the 10 came out, and then everyone was saying about how the original 10 was better because it had the tiered keyboard. There it is, people. And that's how much you're going to buy one for today.
Actually, my local store still has that one for $12K. So
even $12K, I think is a bit steep.
Yeah,
that's probably why it's still sitting there, right?
Keyboard is pretty crappy on it, actually.
They were a bit,
Kent would say that's 2 keyboards to go wrong.
I think he didn't even say that, actually. Who cares? Really, they're museum items, is what Brett Lemmings is saying. Exactly, Brett. Exactly. This is a very, but I mean, Brett, you're well seasoned in this show. You know that we show this stuff for tongue-in-cheek reasons. Oh, look at the inside of this flight case. This is almost like as good as my DX7 one, the green. Wow.
Ooh, Valua.
The RS505, that thing sounded amazing, actually. It did sound really lush. I don't know if it's $5,000 lush, though. US dollars, though. Whereabouts is this thing? Doesn't say.
It's very colorful for the time period, though.
Yeah, it's kind of typical of Roland in that period, wasn't it? Where they were just trying all these different ideas out. But that was kind of like their breaking out of the organ stage, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Going more into a synth stage. I mean, that thing was ugly, but it sounded amazing. 5K for the 5K, says Paul. Yeah. Oh, there we go. SH5. After my heart. I love this synth. Geez, I tell you what, if someone needs to remake this synth. It's a really, really cool synth. I mean, probably more so for the filter than anything else, but yeah. Marrying all those bits and pieces together. It's nice. You're saving $330 on this one, 6% off. This one's in Japan. That's probably where all the SH5s are, right? They're all sitting in Japan.
Well, that place called 5G. That Nick finally toured when he was over there. I've been following that website for like 15 years. That they have just some of the coolest stuff in that place. It's amazing.
It's like, what Dave was saying before about how you can get Moog stuff pretty cheap over in the US. Well, you can get Roland stuff pretty cheap over in Japan. You don't go to the 5G place, and you don't go to this guy's place either. You go to just the local,
regular.
Yeah, local electronics shop down the road. They have these
local
there.
Gumtree, whatever Gumtree is over there.
Yeah, Japanese elm or something.
Bonsai tree, yeah.
600. 100. I love these things.
It's got the things on the side.
The mixers and that,
yeah.
The sequencers there. Everything's there. Keyboard's there.
Oh, I don't like the way some of those modules are leaning half off the RE. What is it? The Roland Echo.
The space.
I don't like that. That makes me feel uneasy.
So VCO, LFO, white noise. Jeez. Come on, you could have listed the module numbers. You don't know what you're talking about. $38,000. Someone in California has a System 100M and they've had enough of it. You haven't met me, have you? You have not met me. I bet you if I went there, Andy, I bet you if I went there, I reckon he'd change his mind about selling it. I reckon if you weren't there, Andy, he'd change his mind about selling it. You would literally just make a couple of patches, right? And then bang, he'd be like, "Oh, it can do that."
Right. Yeah.
Can I hire you? Yeah.
Yeah. Right. What do we got? EMU Systems SP1200. I have never seen this 4-rat.
Super customized.
Yeah. So it's like some guy called 4-rat has re-skinned this thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why you would choose that color. I mean, you think about it. If this thing's gigging, what's the worst color if you go gigging somewhere? For getting like dirty spilt beer and snot and piss and
look where it's been photographed. Look where it's been photographed though. We've got a white marble top.
Yeah.
And this guy's obviously got a thing for white.
He's probably one of these dudes that's got the white studio. Have you seen those photos with those really cool...
Well, that's what Ty Unwin was saying. He wants to get everything in white if he could, but even buying custom stuff in white.
Barbie Pink says Earth in chat. Go with the Barbie pink. We had an episode where we were looking at pink synths. It was a while ago now. I think we're getting close to the end. ARP 2600.
Hey.
That's
Ouch.
the.
I mean, if it's a real tonus, that's pretty cheap, I would imagine.
Is that the Rev 2? I think I can't zoom in on
He's
it.
claiming tonus, but I don't know them that well.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know them that well either.
But tonus would be very expensive.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it'd be lovely. I would love
Kent's
that.
not here today to tell us.
Yeah, hope he's all right. Someone's saying they want the Casio. Oh, what have we got here? The TR-808 with the Kenton MIDI. There's a few out there that have had that. The Kenton MIDI was quite popular on the 808s.
Riveted in.
I actually think we should have done a price watch graphic on the 808s. You know how I did it with the SH101s? I reckon we should have done it on the 808s because I actually think they've come down in price. I don't think it's Behringer that's made them come down in price. What I think it is
Roland
modular
themselves.
synths.
Oh,
and probably their own themselves because they've made the ACB and they made that thing almost. We don't need it, do you? If you got a TR8, do you really need a TR-808? If you've got a TR8, do you really need it?
So, for example, my friend sold his 909 and 808 in good shape back in 2007, both for about $2,000 each. And the guy wanted to do the mod where he made it a rack mount.
Yeah.
So he's going to move the guts around inside of a rack mount. But yeah, $2,000 back then. It's gone way up. So.
Well, $2,000 back then in 2008. I reckon probably circa 2019, 2018, maybe. Actually, maybe let's go 17. 2017 would be pretty safe bet. I reckon you could have picked them up for $25,000, $23,000. So I reckon that was where they peaked back then, because that's where no one was really doing like proper clones, and you know.
But see, even with the clones of the S2400, the SP1200, non-reissued, not the new one that Rossum's making, but the old ones are still like 10, 12 grand or more. Not customized. It's crazy.
Yeah, it depends on who wants it, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Favorite. There was a lot there, wasn't there? Favorite one of Price Watch?
I had to write them down. There's so many.
I can quickly flip through.
No, it's okay. I got them here. I'm leaning towards the first one you did, or the SH5.
Okay,
but
so
I haven't
the
heard it.
Korg 800DV, the Korg Wavestation EX, the Lin 9000, Oberheim Matrix, there were two of them. There was the Sequential Prophet 10, there was the RS505 String Machine from Roland, there's the SH5, there's the System 100M. God, I don't know which one to choose there. There's the White 1200, there's the ARP 2600 Tonus, there's the TR-808, and then I stopped it from there because there was a couple more after that.
I'd like to get a real 2600 instead of the little clone one, but...
Yeah. SH5.
Also, you could get quite a bit out. Oh, yeah, SH5 or the Korg. I think you could get quite a lot out of those.
I'd probably... Yeah. How much did they want for the SH5? They wanted $5,000. If that was $2.5 US, I'd probably be like, yep, let's pull the pin on that. Let's go. So it's not far off. I still think it's just a little bit out of reach type price, but yeah, geez, they're a nice synth. Someone needs to remake one. Everyone in
Has anyone done the filter yet as a Eurorack module?
Yeah, Roland did. Roland have made the SH5 filter in their 500 modules. The
500 series.
The 505, I think it's called. Module.
Right.
I've got it here, actually.
Not to be confused with the 55 series.
Not to be confused at all, no. Don't get confuzzed.
Yeah, I'm easily confused.
Not to be confuzzed. Where is it? What's that one?
It's the black things with the short throw faders on them.
But where did I put it? That's the question. Indeed is the question. Indeed. I thought I had it in a module. Oh, maybe it's here. Yep, 505. Oh, sorry. You guys are looking at chatties right now.
Oh, that one. Cool.
Focus. Oh,
Focus, you F.
Focus. There we go. So with that, there's actually 2 filters on that. And you can actually mix them together. It's actually a pretty cool mod. In fact, what I'll do, you should check this out. It's actually a really cool mod. This is bonkers, this filter. So this is like one of the most gnarliest bonkers filters you'd ever get your hands on.
Yeah, it's on my list. It's that series. It's just a bit out of price range, but
see how you've got VC1 mix and VC2.
VC1 and VC2.
So that's this coming in, right? Is that setting, and then you've got on the first one, you've got low pass, band pass, and high pass, right? And then routing. The routing of the second input, right? And then you've got your SH5 frequency and resonance. It's bonkers.
Oh, cool. So the one, you've virtually got a patch point at the top there because it can your input can be rerouted to any of those.
You got 2 inputs.
Filter destination. Oh yeah, it's a bit like a plugin like Massive or something where you can route the dual filter.
Yep.
Any way you want.
And also CV control for resonance.
I'm we were just talking about that, weren't we?
I'm pretty sure. In fact, I've always wanted to know, because sometimes Roland label shit, right? And you think, why did you label it there? And it was like it's for the pot above or something. I don't know. Like I've always wondered if that's definitely true, but I'm pretty sure it is. Let me just double check. I'm just purely doing this for myself, so self-indulgent reasons, right? But why not? 505 book parameter guide. Here we go. Let's load it. Acrobat. Why do you take so long? Attenuated inputs down the bottom are adjust the gain of the voltages and inputs for the mod in frequency, resonance, and levels. Yes, so you actually have
there
CV controls over resonance. So that's what makes this module pretty cool.
Cool.
Apart from the fact that it's an SH5 filter as well.
Can you still get them?
Yep.
New? Oh, might have to go on my list.
It doesn't say that they're discontinued, I don't think. Let me double check.
Oh, I could look for stock anyway,
Roland
even if it is.
System.
Wasn't someone saying last week that there was the MX1s? When we were talking last week about how you can, if you ring up someone.
Music and before, and they're available there for $529. Sorry, say that again, Chris.
I was going to say, we were talking last week about how if you, even though the MX1 isn't sold anymore, if you ring the right people, they'll have a warehouse where they can sell you one or something.
Well, they might, that's the thing. They might know someone who's got one in stock.
Yeah, even when the manufacturers stop producing stuff, sometimes you can still get some from a warehouse, apparently.
It doesn't say discontinued on here, and this usually is the indicator if something's discontinued. So, yes, you can still buy them, and they're in stock in Australia. So, look, I will warn you, though, it's an expensive module.
Yeah, no.
It's a $500 Australian dollar module.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. And all it is a filter. But
that's the only reason I've resisted getting it before. I just forgot all about it for that reason.
We're completely being self-indulgent here, right? But I reckon guys would be interested in this. I want to show you this what do you call it, diagram? Signal flow diagram. Okay, I want to see if I can get it up on this computer for you. Because I was trying to explain how the patching worked, and I don't think I did a very good job. So let me explain it using Roland's diagram, which I think does a better job. So you've got your 2 inputs, right? Which can either go through the multi-mode filter or the band pass filter. That's what I got wrong. But then, if you look at it, they can also be mixed. It's bonkers. Do you see that? So you've got 2 inputs that can be either routed either to one or the other. And then on top of that, if you go to the other side of where those filter blocks are, there's a mix of VCF1 and VCF2 going to separate VCAs. It's bonkers. So what I'm trying to think here is that I used to get lots of feedback and distortion happening in these, and that's why I'm saying it's bonkers. It sounds bonkers, right? And it's because of the way you've got signals being rerouted to each other, and it's probably, I don't know how the amps work in this thing, but because if it was just pure VCA, it wouldn't distort, right? But I'm pretty sure they distort with the way it routes. So you're filtering into filtering, distorting wise. It's kind of crazy. Someone else was telling me about these before, and I didn't really understand kind of the uniqueness of that particular design. But it's not. So it's the same filter as in the SH5, but it's not the same design in the way the SH5 works originally, because you've got
the architecture.
Because you've got that
configuration slightly different.
So you can get it to sound like an SH5 with a System 100, a System 500, same sound, same sort of oscillator, right? But yeah, it was really bonkers. One day I'll plumb it up and I'll show you in a separate thing. But it's really, really bonkers. Like, you can have this thing sounding pure and perfect, like all Roland filters do, or you can have this thing so gritty, gnarly, almost doesn't even behave like a filter at all. It actually behaves like almost like a bit crusher, the way it works. It's crazy. Yeah.
Breaks up.
Analog bit crusher, right? Because your bandpass, you're multi-moding, mixing with feedback into a bandpass. So you think about the frequency, the frequencies getting molded together. So you've got different sort of frequencies, and then it getting amplified some way because of its mix. It's crazy anyway. But yeah, right. That's it for the week. News wise and price watch wise. What I was going to do is, if we had time, I don't know if we're going to have time, maybe we'll do this next week, is I did buy this during the week. Where can I go? Overhead camera is easiest. This is used. I bought this Expert Sleepers module during the week. Secondhand. It's a Mark IV. So Disting Mark IV is what we're looking at. Okay. Now these use, famously, these use a pick controller on them. And the cool thing about the Mark IV is you can use a pick programmer, but these have got the SD card in them.
Yeah, it's
where you can load your
firmware and samples
samples on here,
wavetables.
And the cool thing about this, if you've never ever seen this module before, we can plug it in. I don't have 4 HP left in this rack. I actually wanted to show you guys this on the show.
Whose fault is that?
This is a common thing with people who use Eurorack. There at the end of my rack is 2 HP. I need 4 HP. What do? I probably have to pull a module out, right? And forego my patching. That's okay. We can do that. But this is a common thing with Eurorack. You want to design your skiff, and then sometimes you're out of HP because racks are limited width, right? The thing I don't like about the Nifty case actually is I wish it was 104, because I seem to feel 104 is a good width.
So how wide is this one?
Is it
84?
84.
84, yeah.
80 something like that, yeah. Anyway, so this module,
wider.
What does it do?
It definitely started that 84 size.
Yeah, Dofa did, yeah. Okay, so what's cool about this module is that it's 100% digital, right? And it does a whole bunch of stuff. It's like a toolkit, so you can have this running as an LFO, and you choose a whole bunch of algorithms using this S encoder here. And this other encoder is to change parameters for that particular algorithm. The Z input is for CV control of that encoder. The X and Y are inputs, and the A and B are outputs. So this follows the same topology through every single algorithm. Sometimes you won't use all the inputs and outputs. Sometimes you won't even use the encoder. So it depends on the algorithm. So there's things in here. There's a reverb. There's LFO, there's an oscillator, there's a Turing machine. There's a whole bunch. There's something like 18 different algorithms that you can download.
There's even a vocoder in there.
Sample player, vocoder. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of cool stuff. So this works with CV and audio rate. And it's a PIC controller, 32-bit PIC controller running on it. If you ever want to watch a really cool video, and actually kind of, it's quite old. If you go to Expert Sleeper's website, look up this module and scroll right down to the bottom, there's a video of Oz at some makers meet in a pub in the UK where he's showing Eurorack probably to a whole bunch of people that have never seen it in their life for the first time. And the whole thing where he was trying to show the disting, right? It's an older version of the disting, and it was like the Mark 1. And the whole thing ended up being this train wreck because there was people like who didn't even know what oscillators were and filters were. To go on these massive tangents and explain to people. It was actually brilliant because he's really knowledgeable, this guy. He's an engineer and he's really knowledgeable. And the way he handled it, you could there was a few little stabs, a few little comments under his breath as he was trying to get his laptop to show things. There was one guy, it was really funny. There was one guy, he was going, "But you're using your laptop. How's that analog?" It was hilarious. You can see he was about to rage, but he just held it together. He's like, deep breath, Andrew, deep breath.
How not to lose control during a demo.
So I like the idea of the Distant Mark IV, but I've used mine a total of maybe 5 times. I don't even have the SD card in it, but because it's just kind of convoluted. Like every time you update it, you got to reprint the chart of all the changes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You need the cheat sheet around you constantly.
You do. And that's the negative side of it. Yep. Because it is digital.
Same here.
Right, so it's the menu diving people don't like in most synths. You have it now in eurorack. The disting.
I'm going to take Roland Scooper out just for this exercise because the disting is not going to stay in here, guys. But I just wanted to show you guys. So, but while I'm taking the Scooper out, I can show you the cool bottom of this. Right, I've turned the power off. Don't worry, Chris. Calm down. his module's right there. But one of the cool things that I liked about the Roland design, see how it's all sealed in, and it's
is that a plastic?
Feet. Yeah,
plastic,
module.
Isn't it? The back.
That's so cool. Let's just unplug the USB for
cool.
now.
Yeah, and it's on a slide angle. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And they've got that you can power this thing with a DC barrel as well. So you can literally have this sitting outside your Eurorack. I hate these connectors.
Flying bus connectors.
Come out. Geez, that's tight. Why is that not coming out? Oh, geez.
Try
crap.
If you grab it by the you've got it now. Yeah. So sometimes you just have to wiggle it left and right rather than forwards and backs.
That's why this is quite an interesting design when you think about it. Roland, you can take it apart and you'll see all the electronics in there. But this thing can be completely standalone. One thing I did is I put it in, screwed it all in and everything, and I forgot to turn that switch on. And the whole thing doesn't work unless you turn that switch on.
Oh dear.
Anyway, I admit these things publicly. Most people wouldn't admit stuff like that publicly. Oh, while we're talking about stuff, publicly admitting stuff, I do want to mention Robbie did a great video during the week where he showed the new, not the new, the
Regen,
the Synclaver
Regen,
right? And he felt bad because he felt like he was fumbling his way through it, right?
He hasn't watched your show, Nance.
He does not. He does not watch my shows, obviously, because that's literally me to a T. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that because really, when you think about it, if you guys were to sort of go through when you're pulling something out of a box and using it for the first time, if you literally had an audience doing it, that's what it would be like. It'd be you fumbling stuff and not quite.
That's what I said. He wasn't trying to be loop pop. He's trying to do an unboxing / intro demo, right?
Yeah.
So,
but I actually like them. I like it when, you've the whole experience of you touching something for the first time is the same as what everyone else has. I actually think that's really cool. Anyway,
and try to do it without the manual.
Segue to this. Can I mention that I haven't turned this on since I bought it, and this has been purchased new. It's not brand new. What am I saying?
Used.
This has been purchased used. So let's see if it works. Oh, we've got lights.
There is a light.
We've got lights. Now, another thing I love about Expert Sleeper modules is they have, and by the way,
jacks.
Oz designed this. This is his own design, the illuminated connectors. Now, some people hate them because they're really loose.
They don't patch that well. Yeah, they don't. They're. I like the concept, but they don't patch 100% well. So
yeah,
a little loose.
Yeah. All right. So what you'll notice with this thing is, and I have watched a couple of videos of his, so I do know a little bit about it. This is the algorithm that you're choosing here, and it's got like a little dot matrix display. So if you choose one, it'll actually tell you that is an octave.
Cool.
2 is a. Oh, this is actually. Hang on. We need to. There we go. That's saving it.
I will say the screen is brighter than the PAMs, though. PAMs is very dim. This is nice and
if
bright.
I turn this has got a massive LED light. If I actually dim the lights, you gonna let me dim the lights or what? Okay. I'll force you to dim the lights. There we go. So it is actually quite bright. Look at it.
Firmware version 1.1 is coming. It's coming.
Anyway.
By the way, there are some modules from Behringer which are even brighter than mine.
So this is an LFO, right? This one. And we can try the LFO out if you like. So what can we do? We should. I've never ever tried this. I don't even know what it's going to do. But let's get Ableton happening and.
Chris, don't worry. The Deptford Dark Time sequencer with the blue LEDs is god awful bright. You got to buy the red one.
Red ones go faster. Now A and B are different colors, and you can hardly see it. Now this is the only thing that I don't like because I've got a little bit of colorblind problems. But anyway, we'll get over it. Okay, let me take this and move this over a bit so you guys can see. Don't fall off. That there is an LFO going somewhere else, so I'll take that out, and I'll put this in. I don't know if it's A or B. I would guess A would be the sensible one, right? And then we need to bring up the potentiometer to this. So let's see what this does. Okay, we don't have any sound because I muted it. I'll just turn off all the other channels so you can just hear this.
Yeah. Z.
Clockable LFO. So if it's a clockable LFO, that means it can take a clock, right? It doesn't have to.
Or you can tap tempo as well by pressing the actuator. I think the S actuator. Are they both actuators? Only one of them is. I think it might be the top one then.
Okay. That's an octave thing. Hang on.
Right. Okay. Maybe that algorithm's different algorithm.
Might be mucking around. But anyway, you guys get the idea what this thing can do. It's a whole bunch of stuff in a box.
That's a
Ranzee,
Swiss Army knife.
Robbie put in a funny price watch you should post. It's pretty outrageous. It's in the Discord.
Oh, holy crap.
One of the scammiest ones ever.
Yeah, let's chuck this in. Share it with the people. Share it with everyone. Okay, give me a sec. Catching up to my Price watch link. Hopefully that's there. Yes, it is. Copy that. Paste that. Enter that. Maximize that. Press this. Bang. There you go. Yamaha DX1 1983 plus H cards for £217,000.
I think Jean-Michel Jarre licked it or something. So
£217,000. Now, Chris,
think
that's
to...
400, and that's almost 440 Australian dollars. That is.
I can get a Banksy for less than that. I can get a Banksy original for less than that.
I mean, you could get a house for that.
What? Have you seen the shipping cost?
You could get
Was it my eyesight?
The shipping is £45,000. Yes, it's in Virginia though, right? In Woodbridge.
Well, it needs its own shipping container, of course.
Made it.
That makes sense because he's not that far from DC, which is the
somebody
biggest
is
scam
hand delivering it. Somebody is hand delivering it for that price. I'm telling you, or not.
Yeah,
on a real unicorn.
Look at the comment in the chat. Hang on, I'll highlight it. Here we go.
Yeah, now she understands. She sees the value of the studio.
Well, that's actually true because, like, when I sold a whole bunch of my gear, you know, when I was having conversations with my wife about some of the Okay, we crashed. Sorry, people. We should be back. Dave, can you hear me? Cool. I need to get him back in. I don't know what happened then. We had a crash the other day, didn't we?
Yeah.
Maybe my computer needs to look at. There we go. VMix is back. There we go. Chatties. I've lost the chatties, so it doesn't matter. We don't need them anymore. We're going to wrap up anyway in a sec. But yeah, Chris is back.
The chat they're watching anyway.
Hopefully Synthetic will come back. Is it working?
Oh, okay.
You know what I probably need to do? I probably need to find out if there's an update to this software. Because I wouldn't be surprised if... What I did was when I posted that comment from Robbie, I'm using the internal software social, it's called VMix Social, and what it does is it reads all the YouTube stream, and then I can bring it into the show with a bubble, like one of these bubbles, right? Okay. But when I did it, within a second, the whole VMix thing just went and crashed. So I reckon there's a software update. But anyway, we'll worry about that later. Anyway, so talking about disting, why do you need a disting? What can you do without a disting? I guess another similar sort of module was ornaments and crime, but ornaments and crime is probably different again, bigger.
That was more specialized. Yeah.
Yeah, you're muted, by the way, Chris. And anyway, so what I suggest you do if you are interested in disting and if you've never ever thought about getting one, there's a lot of guys in chat that will definitely tell you to get one. But let's have a look at Expert Sleeper's website. These have been
It
around
is a
for
good
a while.
Swiss Army knife. If you want a small module, it does a lot. But you do have to refer to the chart a lot. So if you leave it in one thing for a long time, that's probably the best way, I would say.
Yeah, I'm with you, I'm with you, Andy, because that little dot matrix as well crossing the screen to see what you're setting you in is a bit of a pain for me.
Well, you're not going to be using that a lot. Let's be fair. You're going to be setting it and then forgetting it.
Well, I'm like Andy. I think I've only used it about 4 times.
Because for the price, you get a lot of stuff in it.
Oh, it's great.
A little bit awkward when you're tweaking stuff. So just leave it in one setting and get maybe several of them, like other people have said, like Synchrotron said.
Yeah.
Look at this.
And then you
can... Look at this, right? Yeah, Synchrotron's got one.
He's got 4.
So you've got precision adder, the quadrant multiplier, the full wave rectifier, minimum, maximum, linear, exponential converter. Now that's handy. A lot of people don't realize how handy that is, but that's really, really handy. Quantizer, which is good. Apparently people swear by the quantizer. The wave shaper is a dual wave shaper too, so it takes 2 inputs and 2 outputs. It does sample and hold. All the stuff's digital, by the way. And some things digital does better than analog because it uses maths, right? Because sometimes maths is more powerful than an analog circuit.
This one has the wave shaping on the LFO. That's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yep. And then you've got a whole bunch of other stuff: vocoder, phaser, bit crusher, tape delay, all these different types of filters, envelopes, massive amount of different envelopes, clockable envelopes, shift registers, some other expert sleeper module stuff that's related if you've got other things, the reverbs, the choruses, the gates, delays, LFOs. It's huge. And you can also use it as a sample playback module as well. So there you go.
It's absolutely great. I think that's why they brought the newest one out with the bigger screen, so you can actually see what you're doing with it.
Yeah. So the EX, I'll show you that
XL.
one. XL, XL, whatever. Yeah.
XL or EX? No, it's EX definitely.
It's EX.
Disting Mark IV EX. Yeah.
So that some people would say, I hate that dot matrix display. Well, this one has a OLED display.
Yeah.
And the OLED display is not that one. Why did that not show me that? Why did you just do that to me, you stupid computer? Oh, is that his website that does that?
Computer says no.
Oh, it is. His website is not hosting his own photos. Interesting. Okay.
Interesting.
There you go.
Is that a cross-domain issue? Yeah.
So that's the the OLED display, and this is actually 2 distinct EXs. Sorry, 2 distinct Mark IVs. What am I saying? Sandwiched together. So you got left and right. They're actually 2 of them together. And on the left, and so when he shows in the video, the screen splits into 2, shows information on the left, shows information on the right. But when you're doing stuff, the screen zooms into the text that you're working on and then disappears. It's very, very clever. He's done a lot of programming on this. I have to.
And he had a lot of fun.
Gaz Williams loves it. He used to do streams with this module a lot.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Has some good samples and stuff in it.
Let me see if I can just show you. We don't need
the
to
Disting
play the
EX
audio.
is a multifunction Euro.
I want to see if you can see the bit where he zooms in on the screen. Let me see if I can get it up for you guys. So see how it splits it into 2. So you've got the left-hand side and the right-hand side there. Are we getting HD? Is that just...
Disting Mark IVs.
There we go. So see how he just did something just then and it zoomed in?
It zoomed in, yeah.
But then...
Or as a single powerful module.
In a minute, it will zoom back out again. Let's go back to his...
The text is pretty small, though. So if you're getting older, you might need glasses on.
That's zoomed out on the... That's zoomed out. But then there's these really cool... Actually, I think the loop hop video might show it better. Have you got the loop hop video here? He does.
Hi.
I don't want to play that because I'll completely get a copyright strike.
Yeah, you can mount a Fresnel lens in front of it so you can see it better.
Or a lighthouse, from a lighthouse.
Like in Brazil, remember the tiny screens with the big magnifier?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the bit here where he shows it, I think. Okay, let's mute it so we can't hear it. All right, here we go. So you can see it says Matrix Mixer, and then he's gonna touch something on here.
About this thing here.
Right. See how it zoomed in when he touched it? See how the text zooms in? And then when he chooses something, and then it goes back to double mode. See that? That is cool. That's how you use a proper
context interface. Yeah, context sensitive interface.
So I mean, if you really hate the display on the Distinct Mark IV, and you're into like more information and you want to sort of use this more interactively, get the EX. The EX has got 2 Distings in it anyway. Do that. For me, this is a set and forget, right? So you're using one algorithm. You don't need to go through and work out what all this crap's doing. You just know algorithm B1, whatever it is, right? You've got your list. Set it, forget it, and you're using it for whatever. I'm using this as a touring machine at the moment, by the way.
It's very much my take on it is it's very the 4HP ones is that it's very much I need a module that does this. I'd like to be able to have a module that can be anything I'm thinking of next to solve an immediate problem. The other thing I thought it was good use for is if you are just getting into Eurorack and you're not really sure what kind of device you want at a certain time, you can experiment with the Distinct ones to decide whether it's, is it a touring machine that I want? Oh, yes, it is. Oh, no, it's not. It doesn't really do anything for me. Oh, I think I need more LFOs that do this. And you try that. You go, yeah, that's what I need. Or, no, that's not what I need. Or some of the more esoteric modules like, quadrature, things that you don't quite understand. Great place to learn how they work. I guess you could do the same thing with VCV rack these days, but nothing's actually patching it in and seeing whether it's something you can do something with. You can really only do that with your modules that you've got in your rack. So being able to have this do anything, sometimes it could be quite good. So it's one of those ones where I think, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people buy it quite early on because they're looking for something to fill that kind of question mark. I don't know what I really want yet.
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing about Ornament and Crime, you can do 4 simultaneous Turing machines.
Yeah. Ornament and Crime is something I am getting as well, but And
the Lawrence attractor, that little warping thing that goes, that's really cool.
In that video with was it one of those Nekia modules, one of the videos, he had a really cool Ornaments and Crime. Which one was it? It was the...
I have the micro one. It's only 8 HP.
No, it's this one. This is the one I like. This is the one with the decent size OLED and lots of connectivity. See the Ornaments and Crime on the left of the root locus? Just here. This one?
Yeah, that's what I have here. At the top of the case there, you see
where
it.
Are you? Yeah.
To the right of the wave folder.
Yep, got it.
Yeah.
So they're probably better than the micros because the micros have like hardly anything on the screen. That one you get a lot of information spitting out. Okay, so back to the Disting. One other thing that you can do with it is everything that Chris said, everything that I said before. Plus, it is also hackable. Everything is open source. You can load your own algorithms on there.
Yep.
It uses the PIC controller. If you know a little bit about programming in C, and there's another language, I forget what it is, you can upload your own module
programs, essentially.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe there's, like Chris, we were talking about making a feature that resets the sequencer or something. I don't know. Maybe we could build in a feature into the Disting that does that or whatever.
It would, if it was pure data, you could program it in. That would be the optimal because that's the quickest. That and Max for live, I guess, but that's usually not implemented on small microprocessors. But that would be ideal for that kind of problem solving or experimenting with an idea like that.
Anyway, I mean, a lot of us probably won't have time to be programming PICs and those sort of things, and we'll just be using the I don't know 84 algorithms that it comes with anyway, which is heaps. So yeah, for me, it was $200. I bought it for $200. Now,
That's
I
good.
think they're about 300 and something brand new. I don't know what they're in US dollars, by the way. 170 something pounds. Yeah. Pretty cheap when you think about it. 84 algorithms plus, sample player, all those features, and hackable, 175 pounds. Pretty cool. And like the visual feedback, it's really important. And I cannot stress that enough. When you're a musician, visual feedback in things where it had these lighting up things. By the way, everyone's whinging about how these things, the cables easily fall out. They don't easily fall out, but there's definitely a physical click with that. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely pull that cable out easier than I can with a standard other connector. But sometimes it does my head in trying to pull cables out. Like, that's actually no different to that. Yeah. But it's different to that one has a real sort of grab on it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the other problem too is cables are not all created equal. Some actually are slightly smaller. The specs are not.
Yeah.
You know? I've had a few cables just not work with like a series of dope for modules. Well, the dope for ones, sometimes certain cables you just go, okay, I guess I can't use this cable with that module. And then I do it again later on and it works fine. It's like, oh.
They all look confusing. Similar. I mean,
I was talking to a guy at Perfect Circuit one time when I was buying cables, and he said, yeah, definitely avoid this one brand. I forgot what it was, because they're slightly skinnier. Hard to tell with your eye, but you can tell on the jack.
Yeah. Oh.
They all look similar, don't they? Right, when you're looking at them.
Yeah.
But you could get a vernier caliper or something and, measure the thickness of it or something. If you're into that sort of shit.
Oh, who'd be into that kind of crap? That's just ridiculous.
Mine's in a drawer. I don't have mine on top of my bench. I'm not that nerdy.
Mine's in a box somewhere.
Guilty.
All right. We've got through the show, everybody.
Well done.
And it's awesome having Dave on there holding up the StreamYard for. I think Dave, good job, mate. Good job holding up the StreamYard for it. It's hard work.
It wasn't easy.
Represent.
It's hard work.
It's like Atlas holding up StreamYard. He's like,
There's a little sad. There was like the little dark blocks. I was like, I got to help here.
Yeah.
Jump in.
There, just one thing I noticed Brett mentions in chat, name that synth. There isn't any. If someone wants to send one, and then there will be, Brett. You're asking for it. Well, then send one in. Hopefully the prizes went out to the various people, because I have sent that out to Skippy from Plugin Guru, and he did email me back. So he was asking me a few questions, which I actually have to get back to him about. He wants to step up some things with the prizes with the Name That Synth, by the way. I'm not going to tell you just yet because we haven't sort of formulated what that is, but he's going to be more generous with the prizes. So it's there's going to be some incentives for you guys to be participating in Name That Synth. So yeah, if you want Name That Synth, you've got to send it in. You can't just rely on me or any of these guys. All of these guys here have done one, right? So you've got to send them in. That's the only way you're going to get one. It is a community. This show is a community. It's not like sit back and consume. All right, it's not one of those things. That's what CBS and Channel 4 is for, right? And so you just don't want to sit back and consume. They just vomit, right? But yeah, cool. Okay, big thanks to, like I said before, David holding up the fort in StreamYard. Let's full screen on him. Just 1 second. He's not gonna see anyone, but that's full screen on David. Yay, David! There he is.
Oh yeah, there he is.
Thanks, buddy. Big thanks to Chris for holding up the fort. Andy's going to be away for a while, for a few weeks, guys. So because he's busy with work and a whole bunch of stuff. So Chris is going to take Andy's spot. Ian was away just this week, so we had a blank spot for Ian. But
he was stuck in traffic as well. Is at a wedding.
Yeah, and big thanks to Andy Synthetic for getting up early It's going to get earlier again soon.
Now I can go back to sleep for a while.
It's going to get earlier again soon. And also Darren, who's the resident. I don't know what you want to call you this week, Darren.
Park bencher.
Yeah, resident park bencher. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I like that.
Bastel boy.
Resident purple dude.
Yeah.
Purple lover.
Yeah.
Friend to purples.
Purple controller.
Yeah.
Or lack
No,
of controller.
he just lack of control more like.
Yeah. And big thank you to all the chatties, of course, which I can't show you because that's right that we disconnected the show. Yeah. Anyway, that's enough for today. All the best to everyone. Go give some loves to Modal and Moog and all those other companies, and I don't know, do your best, press record, say hi to your mum, all that sort of stuff. See ya. Bye.
See ya, everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah.